we're not live. I thought we were live. I thought we were straight in.
No, we're not live yet.
Okay, so do you want to do the present?
We're live.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to this third segment of the Free Assange Candles, fourth segment of the Candles for Assange event. Right now with us, we have Alex still and Sleepy Josh on the ones and twos. But we also have many people from around the world joining us as well. So if you guys want to take a moment and have Alex kind of pass you around and introduce everyone.
Hi there, everybody. It's good to be back again. So we've just been chatting behind the scenes, and we've got a whole team here from Canada. So we've got Peter, please. Like, I don't know how to say your surname, Peter. Can you say it for me? Oh, you have to unmute yourself, Peter. So let's get you all unmuted. Shelley Drums as well. If you unmute yourself, so we can all have a chat. We've got Peter Blytsterfield.
It's Peter Biesterveld.
Biesterveld. Sorry, I didn't want to say it wrong.
No problem. Happens all the time.
Yeah. And we've got Shelley Drums, Twitter.
Sherry.
Sherry, I'm still. Sherry Drums.
Oh, yeah, you've been up all night.
Yeah. Well, I thought I just got corrected that it was Shelley, and I had been saying Sherry. Okay. And last but not least, we've got Shona Davidson here. And I don't know who the other person is because I can't see them, but maybe, Andrew, you could introduce them. I can't even see because it's quite a dark.
I think she's coming to us from Australia.
Who is that there?
It's Danielle from.
Oh, hi, Danielle.
I'm here for 10 minutes. Sorry.
Okay, why don't we go to you first then? So Danielle from People for Assange, you had a wonderful protest yesterday in Sydney, I understand.
We did. Were you able to stream any of it? I mean, we had an issue with, I think, the rotation, or was it awful? I don't know.
We were able to play one or two. I think we had 2 videos up on Facebook, and we played them both. I think we had a bit of trouble with copyright, so we had to shut one down.
The last one.
Yeah, but we managed to show the candles, I believe, earlier, and we could show them again, just to put it in context while you're on. Yeah, we can do that later once we talk to Toronto. Yeah, so tell us a bit more about yesterday.
Well, it was a really beautiful event. Look, I don't know how many of us there were. There may have been 50 to 100, and we've got such a great team of talented people. So all the musicians, there were 5, and they're all on Team Assange anyway. So it was just so lovely, and there was just such a warm feeling. You know, if people were responsible for getting Julian out, he would be free. That's clear. You know,
the street, was it generally positive?
Yes, absolutely. And the police, they were actually just standing back, viewing, and went, you know, we're just going to let you do this. So I have to say, they were really cooperative.
So did you have the restriction like Melbourne did that you could only have 10 people?
No. Well, I think that maybe the law, it says 20 groups of 20 or 50 at the moment, but I think, you know, it came down to 1.5 meters or one. There was no talk about that at all. And we don't have the mask thing mandatory. So,
well, I don't know if you know, but in Melbourne, they were handing out fines to supporters because they, you know, one more person than 10.
So they did get fined.
And they got fined. No, we've got. I've sent to Andrew some photos from Melbourne. And we might find more video from them on Facebook site on Melbourne for WikiLeaks. But yes, one of the posts I saw on Twitter, which I've sent to Andrew, which was really shocking, which was an elderly, it looked like elderly supporter being given a fine. And this is in a time when none of us have money, right?
Why couldn't they give her a mask?
Disgusting, right?
Terrible. Like, just, I don't understand it. I mean, free speech. Why can't we actually say happy birthday to somebody and meet and have a congregate on a street? I don't understand.
No. We've had an easy time in Wellington, and I was telling people before, we managed to have billboards up for 2 whole hours and not a single person came along. We ended up deciding to take them away from the motorway because no police came to take us, and it was so cold. So we gave up. But 2 hours and probably about 50,000 cars minimum. Saw us, and it was on a day where Parliament was sitting for the first time. So all the traffic coming on that motorway are the MPs and the people coming to Parliament and government offices. So I think it was pretty effective. Really happy to have done that. But yeah, the police have left us alone lately in Wellington.
Yeah, I mean, we tried to include them a little bit because we're there off, every Friday night, or most of us, someone's there on a Friday night. So they've kind of come to know our faces, and I think they're just like now backing off and just realizing, well, we're not cases, and we do actually have something real to say, and it's not bad, and they're just leaving us alone.
Now, was it in your area that we heard about Indigenous protesters going out early in the lockdown, and they got picked up before they even went out to protest? Do you hear that? Is that in your area?
It may have. I know we did have a Sydney protest. Do you mean part of the Black Lives Matter?
No, long before that. Like at the beginning of COVID, I remember Ian Rose, or was it? No, it was Rain from Melbourne told me about it. So it might be in Melbourne, but the Indigenous supporter was the organizer, the main organizer for the Indigenous supporters. He was basically arrested from his own home or stopped from protesting before he even left his house.
Outrageous.
Yeah, I think he was actually arrested like 2 hours beforehand, and it was a socially distant protest. There was immigrants that were living in a hotel. I think it was like acting as a refugee center almost, and they were there in their vehicle showing support to them. And the organizer for the protest had gotten arrested a few hours beforehand, and they took his computer, his phones, and his children's computer and phone. So it was really, I can't remember the charge, and I don't want to say it wrong, but it was basically a some type of almost incitement charge, I believe.
It's incredible.
Wow.
It's like pre-crime, isn't it? Pre-crime, although this is not even a crime, so you couldn't even call it a pre-crime. It's getting science fiction levels, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
So yeah. What did you actually do? Did you do any party celebration? I think I saw some candles. Was that at Sydney, or was that Melbourne? I'm getting confused because so many have been coming in.
Yeah, we had banners, candles, ribbons.
Lovely.
We had so many candles actually. Yeah, music, a cake, delicious cake, and then I think people didn't really want to leave. We just stood around together. People just wanted to come together, I think, to share this day, because if you're a supporter in your own world, and there may not be many of you doing anything, everyone wanted to come together. So that was the lovely thing. Like a normal party, let's go and celebrate somebody's birthday. So
some of the people at Belmarsh were saying they were feeling it was a bit rude that they were drinking beer and eating cake and having a great time outside the prison while Julian is sitting there suffering. But we did actually get live with one of not guards, but one of the chief prison CEO came out and talked to Dave online, on air, on Action for Assange at Slow News Day, and he said, "We're going to let Julian know you guys are out here, and we're going to get the message to him."
Wow.
That's great.
Yeah.
I think when people see joy, it's very powerful. People see together. It's a real message. It's saying we're not defeated and we're not accepting it at the same time. But you can't steal our human spirit and creativity and joy.
Yeah.
So for today, for the Team Canada portion, I brought a cake too, just to let people know.
Oh, nice.
Remember, I was making it earlier, but I got the cake.
We were virtually eating it, and we were considering doing some whispering while we ate it. Virtually.
So I figure when we go to at the end or whatever's in the flow of things, we'll light this up and sing the birthday song at some point during this.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
So,
Right.
well, you can go ahead.
Well, Shelley, you said you had about an hour's worth of content. Shelley.
Sherry.
It's just a lisp at this point, okay?
I do. I have a whole bunch of cool things to share today. I've got a couple videos in the works, just to talk about what we've been doing here, and how I wanted to sort of start off. And this is a great way to start, with just this really great energy around people who are supporting Julian, and how much that's influenced our art. And I wanted to briefly just share that the summary of when I first came into Unity for J, the online movement. They started asking for content and videos, music, and I saw you, Alex, out there with well, one was, and you know, you start, you think, oh, everybody's going to be doing this, I better get my stuff in. But you first start, this is, I don't want to look too foolish, but there was Alex yelling at a building. Like it was an empty building. You have to, I love this lady already. Next, she comes out with a violin and a hula hoop. I thought that's just a great way to launch the whole thing. Like, just don't be afraid how, just the craziest thing. So I didn't have to feel like, I hope people don't think what I'm doing it.
Was that for the April 11th protest? Because was that when we had the emergency protest for whenever he was arrested, and then we were all going to come online that Sunday?
No, I'm talking way back.
Pretty much preview with the hula hoop in the evening. I think it was that one, maybe.
No, there's one. I think you have it on your video. Anytime. It was right when I came out of UJ, which I think was in the summer of 2018.
Yeah, September we did the Unity 4J Day, and we went around the US Embassy, the Australian Embassy, and the British Embassy. The US Embassy, I played Star Spangled Banner while I hula hooped. The Australian Embassy, I played Waltzing Matilda for Alex Taylor again. And when I got to the British Embassy, I did oh god, that terrible sitcom, and I can't even the ones where the women bounce around all the time, and it's incredibly gross British sitcom, and I played the theme tune to that. It was all I could think of at the time.
And it was interesting, there were a lot of violinists. So anyway, through all this, we have violins and hula hoops, and so you shouldn't be afraid to get out there and just go for it with whatever you have, right? And that was very encouraging. And then there were some more people came in through that I met, the Canadians that I hit it off with. And so we represent all across Canada, but we're a very big country. So I had always wished we could get together in one group and protest. But in organizing these global events, Alex, that's really great, because I think it's brought in Peter, and everyone is starting to sort of meet together and come up with some strategies. But for my part, on a personal level, I'd shared earlier, I might as well just get this done, my little presentation, and then we'll go over to Peter after that. And I appreciate your input, Peter, on the little films I make, which aren't professional, but there's always a little thing you can do. It's just cool to know someone like you that when I'm interested in doing more of that as well. But we've done concerts for Julian Assange. I started that. I thought, just get out there, go with the people we have.
Yeah. And
made concerts and and jam sessions. And then I would take footage from the concert. Yeah, Peter, it's pretty crude, because I'm like, not my professional level is in drumming and professional recording. But for video, I'm like rigging cameras up and then trying to match them in post, right? And so I came back with a few videos.
You put some work into this. It's great.
It's really, and I think that on another level, the inspiration to get better, like as I've talked to people, we're all getting better at we're upgrading our camera gear. We're getting better. I was too shy to talk on video when Andrew first called me to do Action for Assange live stream. I was up all night. Oh, like, so scared. But we've all grown a lot and are getting better and are getting together. So that's an encouraging sign.
Yeah, there's some amazing skills that you can learn doing what we're doing, because you end up being the jack of all trades. I mean, I've found that I gradually learned how to do basic video editing, and it's only got better. I feel like I could almost do a job at it now. I'm getting there, that I could almost do it on one application anyway. But also, like you're saying, public speaking. I, like you, would have been up all night worried about coming. I went on Susie Dawson's Unity4J streams way back. And I remember thinking, God, the people that have been on there, they're all way more clued up on facts than me. I'm just some novice from New Zealand. What the hell am I doing on here? I was not comfortable, but now I feel pretty happy talking online. It's not too bad. Like getting to learn how to do Jitsi and not sound echoey and all those things. I'm beginning to learn those techniques and technical stuff. Also from Action for Assange, like how you guys go about things in a little bit more professional way. I'm learning from you guys. So we're all growing. So one of the best benefits of doing what we're doing is actually it's a self-growth area.
Well,
really.
I think it's a reflection on Julian himself in that his stance for the truth is what brought us all into this, and we could all be authentic and genuine, and you learn that that's really what comes across in this type of format. Not always that you have to be so slick. Anyway, did you have a comment on any of that, Peter? Or
On what?
oh, just the visual, the thing of putting videos together and being inspired by Julian's example of
No, I think
authenticity and truthfulness.
Well, we're all developing revolutionary skills. I hope we keep using them. I think some of the best storytelling out there is people like you, is citizen journalism, as they call it. I think so-called professionalization of the journalistic arts, I think, is overrated. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of good people out there who I look forward to reading, but there are a lot of citizen and call them investigate people like Craig Murray, for example. You know what I mean? They're really serious and credible, and so I find a lot of those kind of people are surfacing. There are a lot more voices surfacing than there ever were before, partly because of media like this, and it's fabulous to see. Some of it, all of it is interesting. All of it is worth looking at, even critically, Anyways, yeah, that's one of the things about this, is we're all learning this stuff. Yeah.
Well, I enjoy that people begin with their strengths and then they begin to stretch into other things. And that's all good. I think that is a reflection on Julian Assange himself, is the kind of people that I've met through this that he draws, because they're going to be mostly true-hearted people at the beginning. And obviously, there's more of us out there that care about truth. And that's really encouraging to that side of faith in humanity. And I hope we can get him out of there. And I'll share I might as well take this opportunity to share my letter that Christine Assange gave me for one of my concerts. I think Alex has gone away.
Please do. No, I'm here. Please do. Oh, yeah. Please do. I'm here.
Well, we were talking earlier about how, for me personally, you can get to feel alone a little bit because, like I say, here's these true-hearted people at the beginning, like, who want to support Julian, and then you want it to grow enough to get him out of there. And we were talking earlier, Alex and I, about encountering his mother, which I'd love to bring up. Is just, I connected with her. She gave me this little spiel to read at my concert. I asked Susie, and she said, well, ask Christine. She'll talk to you. Like, I didn't think she talked to me like people that are well known. You don't expect to answer her message, but and I'm connecting to her. Just her as a woman and as a mother and as a person is the kind of person I'd like to be. You know, I don't have that female role model as much in my life. Like even as a drummer, trying to do that. I mean, there are a lot of women in that. So anyway, I'll read the letter, get on with it. But I was so moved. I was just about crying. It has a nice thing at the end. She said, "Dear band and audience," and I would read this to all my, and I still read it at my concerts. "Dear band and audience, I really wish both Julie and I could be there to kick up our heels with you tonight. Music has always been the heartbeat of a movement for freedom. The Beatles were credited with opening up Russia with smuggled in recordings and the Free Nelson Mandela song for engaging the hearts of the world to free him. Many thanks to everyone coming tonight to show support for my son, and a special thanks to Sherry and the band for organizing this concert for Julian. As a performer myself, I know how much work goes into it. One day, I hope I will be here to celebrate Julian's freedom with you." So
Nice stuff.
That's beautiful. It's really lovely to hear, and it is really special. I've talked to Julian's dad, and I've messaged a lot with Christine, and it is such an honour to feel parents of this hero journalist that we're trying to save. And I really just hold on to that thought of Julian free on a beach somewhere where we all fundraise enough money to all just go and have a party with him free. Yeah, because I mean, we all work hard. We've all, we've gone through Kevin's and all sorts of stuff in all our respective cities. We've got real people that fight against each other in these cities because just of, problems of, ego or whatever it is. You stop focusing on what's important. You start focusing on what it means about your particular area, and actually when it comes down to it, really only fighting for free press and freedom,
the large issue,
freedom, the large issue. And what am I saying? I think that we're such a family, and we will one day be able to all come back together, even if it doesn't all happen at one go, but maybe we can have at least Australasia and a Britain one or something.
Well, Alex, you and I are going to jam together one way or another. That's part of that vision.
It's great if we can find a way of doing that online. Like, I don't know how musicians can
I have heard of something like that, so I'll follow up with you on that later. There's apparently one that keeps the latency really low, and you can actually jam with others. So will it work to New Zealand? We'll find out.
Well, yeah.
Have you seen those where like it's really an elaborate project, but where there are people from all across the globe are performing together on the same song? Have you seen those?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an app. I think each person records individually and uploads.
Yeah,
and then
they cut it together. It's nice done, eh? They're really well done.
That's something we could do too.
You can get beat matching these days so easily. So once you know where the start is, you can easily beat match the whole thing. Even if people have done different speeds, you can bring them all together, can't you? I know the technology's out there. I just haven't discovered it yet because I haven't done an awful lot of live streams yet, and I've certainly not done much music live streaming. The other option is how I did it with Alex Taylor, is that you send me a track. And Timothy and I work on top of that, and then we bring it together and we can listen to it online, even if we can't play it online jamming it. It would be so much more fun to jam it out, though, because I'm a jammer, I'm an improviser. That's what I do. That's mainly what I do.
So, does anyone want to kick in one of my videos, or?
Brilliant, Josh. Why don't you go and do that? We won't be able to hear it, unfortunately, so you'll just have to tell us which one it is, Josh, and then
the
audience.
If you pull the stream up on YouTube or somewhere, you can watch it and listen. You just have to mute your microphone so it doesn't play over top of the stream.
Yeah, you can vote, and you can play it at the same time. It'll be just a little bit delayed.
Yeah, it's like a 15 to 30 second delay. It's not too bad.
I guess this video to introduce it is just me. I wanted to make a drum solo for Julian, and it came to me just be truthful, pure, and so it's just me drumming, and then I cut in little visuals.
Brilliant. So let's all mute our microphones for Josh so that he can go live now with that.
Great.
Oh yeah, you're still going? Okay, sweet. All right, I'm muting. I've probably sent Josh too many videos, and now it's a question of finding out which one would have been the one that Shelley sent. Oh, shame. Okay. Well, Andrew, you've been working all day. What have you haven't been able to get to a protest, but you've been working all day, right?
Yes, no, I just got off work pretty much before I hopped on. But
nice.
tonight, actually, some of my friends and I are going out because there's still some 4th of July celebrations. It's U.S. Independence Day tomorrow.
Right.
So there's still multiple cities around me that are doing 4th of July celebrations. So what me and my friends are going to do is go out to those locations and put up signs and banners and flyers and things.
Right.
So that way, because a lot of them are like in your car kind of events now.
Yeah.
Just because of coronavirus,
Yeah.
but people will still hopefully see them and they won't be taken down. So that's the plan, is to paper them tonight, so when people come tomorrow to watch, it's there for them to view.
Great. Well, Greg went out with flour and water and a whole bunch of yellow pieces of paper with black print on them, which was really graphically great, and plastered the entire Wellington with signs. And those stay on a long time. They stay on the pavement even when they're being walked on. They stay on electricity substation boxes. They stay on poles, and you can stay off anything that you're going to get in trouble for. Keep it on things that are not covering up other posters and stuff.
And don't put them on trees. Don't ever put flyers on trees. That's really rude to the tree.
Mean. Yeah. We don't want to diss the movement, do we, with killing trees or anything like that. Okay, so Josh is just about to play. Shelley is a drum solo for Sherry. A drum solo for.
Okay, Sherry. I need to bring some Sherry.
Oh, it's terrible.
I
call
wrongly.
in Kimber Kendra. It's
Sherry
wonderful.
has corrected me wrongly. Someone did, and then I got it all wrong from then on. That's it.
Okay.
Everybody mute.
Hey, Sherry, could you mute? So, Sherry, could you talk for a little bit about kind of what inspired you to make that initially and how you found out about Candles for Assange?
This jump solo came about just from working with these videos over time. And I wanted to do a video for his birthday for a gift today. And what was happening for me is this is really cool. Thanks for asking that. I've been working on my music for 30 something years. And what's really cool about that video was in the moment I said, well, what should I do? If I'm going to do this for Julian, it just came to me. It has to be pure. If it's about truth, it has to be truth. And it was neat because when you're performing, you could be self-conscious, you could be over-intellectualizing, you could be working on your technique. But when I thought that way, I just had this breakthrough. It was like, you get to just play how you play. And so I just played from my heart for Julian and for all of you and for all the support. So that's where I find my voice is on the kit. So that's what was neat was this breakthrough moment after 35 years was actually caught on film. So that's why I felt it was important to share that. I think it says something for, again, for Julian Assange, that's what this is about and what he inspires and what we're all doing here. And then for Candles for Assange, that's just sort of coming from Unity for Jay. You're going to encounter you and Alex and everyone. So right away, getting in on those worldwide. This is one way to promote them or to show what's happening, right? So really sweet. I will see you later. Oh, that's very kind. Thank you. I can't see the chat where I am, so I'll look at it later. Thanks. Absolutely. Like I'm from, that's 35 years. We started high school. There was always a Leopard guy doing the kicks. And so, especially if you're Canadian for sure, but yeah. Him and Stuart Copeland, it was always da 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 da. Anyway, that's really cool. But that's really cool. People say some nice things. Appreciate it. What else? We didn't even really talk to Shola much. Do you have something you want to chime in with? You'd have to unmute yourself. No?
There we are. Is that okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Got it. I got a notice saying my microphone was making a noise. Was that? Okay. Is it doing it now? It's fine. Yeah, I'm talking about the indictment. And Peter, did you know anything about the indictment?
Well, I was asking earlier if there was anybody on some of the from Australia or New Zealand who had gotten some of the details or anybody who was up on it. I just read the broad strokes of it having to do with him recruiting people in Thailand to hack and to go after the classified information. And I don't know the source of it. So that's the broad strokes. And that's sort of, I guess that's in addition to all the other indictments. I don't know what it means in terms of, well, I don't even know what the lawyers have responded. That's why I was asking whether there's been a response from the lawyers about this. Just happened the other day, right?
Yeah. We found out, I believe it was Tuesday, that the lawyers and the judge hadn't received a copy of the indictment at all, that it had only been circulated through the U.S. media. But essentially what the crux of the indictment is U.S. and U.K. extradition law doesn't allow you to add additional charges on top of the ones you've already placed. So what the Department of Justice supposedly is saying that they're doing is expanding the scope of the conspiracy to commit computer intrusion charge to also include recruitment of hackers. And this was during the time period, and this goes back a long time, so this is kind of just best of my knowledge to recall this. But when there was actually FBI informants working hand in hand with WikiLeaks, almost in an entrapment ring, trying to lure people in, and specifically trying to get it so it made Julian seem like he was provoking hacking, essentially, like requesting services, more or less, which is still a function of a journalist, nonetheless. But that's essentially where it comes from. And I don't want to quote the gentleman's name wrong, but one of them is a pedophile, like has been charged with this, and the other guy is someone who yeah, yeah, and the other gentleman runs CrowdStrike, the DNC-funded cybersecurity company that accused WikiLeaks of working with the Russians to release the DNC and Podesta emails. So the people surrounding the indictment are either known informants or people still on the payroll of the intelligence community. So it's very much should just fall away with entrapment, but like everything else, this is just a show trial.
Yeah, that's an astonishing. Yeah, they're breaking their own laws. They're making that up as they go along.
They don't care.
The thing that strikes me, though, other than shooting the messenger, because it's the same old dusty trail of musty, shady characters, but just on a higher level, the objective here is to criminalize, as it always has been, to criminalize whistleblower accountability journalism. You know, that's so everybody's going to get cold feet when they see this kind of stuff being pulled out of the air and pointed at them like a cannon. And people will be afraid of losing their sources. Then they'll never be able to talk to anybody in national defense and security, whatever they're trying to cover. You know, privatization, all those avenues of journalistic investigation are going to be dimmed with this kind of thing hanging over journalism's head.
Niels Melzer really summarizes it best when he says that he has never seen so many Western liberal democracies come together to punish one man. And that's why on his 49th birthday, we're doing an online vigil instead of listening to him speak at some conferences, because the wrath of these nations are coming down upon him for simply revealing what they've done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading from the Electronic Frontier Foundation. I hadn't heard of it before. And they say that the indictment talks about the most wanted leaks of 2009. And they say that there's a page you can go to for this, but the people who contribute to it are scholars, and they ask for information, but anyone can change it. It's a wiki page, and journalists and scholars and activists and people who want government accountability can go there safely for feedback, and they're anonymous and they can suggest things themselves. It doesn't have to be Assange or WikiLeaks who suggests, and it can be edited. So it's, how can that be proven against WikiLeaks or Julian Assange? It's dreadful.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we need, right? I mean, we need more of that, don't we?
They want to paint WikiLeaks as a rogue band of hackers directed by Julian Assange. The government would like to do that, and they throw everything they can at the judge to do that. I tried to get into the Assange hearing last time. I was given so I phoned in and I was on hold for about an hour. I told them I was a member of the public. And so the first time I tried to get in, I couldn't get in. The second time she gave me another number and I phoned that and I still couldn't get in. And then I thought maybe it's because I'm in Canada. So I said to her, I'm in Canada. So she said, oh, okay, let me check. So she went and got me another number. And then I could get in, but I could hear all the journalists entering the room. And I got a message saying, I will be let in when the music stops. But the music never stopped. And I never got in. It was just wasted time. But I could hear all the other journalists being admitted to the court. They couldn't.
No. Yeah. And so that's crazy that they did that.
I don't think they wanted anybody from the public to be there anyway, so they weren't going to let me in. But I was on hold for more than an hour before I gave up because I figured the hearing would be over.
Well, this is what the fight is about, isn't it? I mean, stopping flow of information. I mean, this. I don't know. Earlier, somebody said this is a show trial. Of course, it is, and everything, the whole narrative that's being spun. Unfortunately, I mean, over here, at least, none of our so-called establishment or legacy media are telling this story the way you just told it, the way where we know it's unfolding. That narrative is not getting out there.
No.
And so if you were worried about governments spinning a tale that is drastically dishonest, what's worse is that most of the media are stenographers of that same narrative. Basically.
Right.
That's what I can't believe that. I know it's universal, but it hits really hard when you're from that group of people. You're supposed to be reporting.
Well, I guess we're almost at the end of our hour, Andrew? You have somebody waiting to come in at 5?
I think we have one U.S. supporter waiting or a group of U.S. supporters waiting to come in.
I'm going to light the cake then.
Okay.
I don't like the cake anyway.
Yeah, I've managed to contact Tulsa while I've been gone, and get them the link and get them sorted out how they have to install.
I'm gonna burn.
So
I'm working on my cake.
Julia.
Do we have to sing?
Sing happy birthday, shall we? Ready?
Yes.
It'll all be different.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy birthday to you.
Oh,
Happy birthday, dear Julian. Happy birthday to you.
And
okay, everybody blow out the candles.
Canadian icing on the
We know what we're wishing for.
happy
What?
birthday, Julian from Toronto.
bye
That's
from
right.
Winnipeg. Bye from
Brilliant.
Winnipeg.
Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Thank you.
Canada.
Thank you, Alex and company. Thank you.
Thank you, Alex. It's nice to be together. Yeah, it's just lovely to meet you
Yeah.
Yeah.
and support Julian.
Yeah.
Oh, wish I had a bite of that, Sherry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Not fair.
All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Take
Thank
care.
you.
All right.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye, Canada. Bye, everyone in Canada. Bye,
Thanks,
Peter. Okay, fantastic. Well, that was fun. I don't know how that came across because we were all singing at different times and it was
I
hard.
hope it did not come across well because I don't want people hearing me singing. Yeah, that's what happens when you try to sing with Cottonmouth unexpectedly.
Yeah, great. Well, so as I said before, we managed to contact Tulsa while I was out, and I'm hoping that we're going to get Tulsa coming online soon. But we've got someone here. Who have we got here? Hello. Is there a new person on the call? Oh no. Okay, they've gone. I don't know if that was Tulsa because I don't know who to expect. But I just spoke to a lady in Tulsa, so I don't know if that was them. But yeah. So how's it been going while I've been gone?
Oh, it was really well. Sherry was just talking about her like musical breakthrough that she had during recording that drum solo, so it was pretty cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I've got Rio as well. I think Rio was wanting to come back, and Fabiana Lima, who organised a little thing at the US Embassy and was tying yellow ribbons from the trees, and then was told to take them down, and we caught of that earlier on. So I don't know. While we wait for Tulsa to come online, and anyone else who wants to join us in the meantime, should we play Stella's video, the cake?
Yeah.
Okay. Shall I take my mic out?
I'll take my mic out, but then I'll. Yeah, okay. Damn, I thought those were going to work. Oh well. So yeah, I suggest we look at Stella's video cake because video of the kids making cakes and their lamingtons, which I want to claim as New Zealand, but I'll probably get in. Oh, is it? Oh, damn. Okay, sorry, I sent you the wrong link. Yeah, so they did a beautiful video. They made some lamingtons, which is either an Australian or a New Zealand delicacy, with coconut and chocolate dipped sponges, and they put them all on a plate. I think they had about 20, and they're getting their fingers all messy, and it was really lovely. So hopefully we will get to play that soon. I sent Josh the wrong link to a photo instead of the video, and I'm very sorry for that. And right now, I seem to be talking on my own. What I could do is just go through who has been. It must be further down the thing, and I can probably find it. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Right. It's a different picture. Sorry about that. And the other person I contacted was Randy Critico, who asked me to email him the link. So he might turn up any minute as well. That's the other person. Yeah. Okay, this is Stella and the kids making cakes today for Julian's birthday.
Crack the egg. Well done, sweetie. Perfect. This will be a really nice cake.
Wow. Are we still live, or should I fill it in a little bit more because I could go through some days?
Aye. 84, 85, and 86. The judge is required to proceed by virtue of section 84, 85, and 86. He must decide whether the person's extradition would be compatible with the convention rights within the meaning of the Human Rights Act 1998. If the judge decides a question in subsection 1, which was the one I just read, in the negative, he must order the person's discharge. It's gonna become quite messy. Okay.
It still works.
It's quite messy, isn't it? The good thing about being messy is that
Are we muted?
you can lick it off your fingers. It's all yours. Okay, here comes the final one. Number 20. That's right. Yay! Well done, sweetie. Okay, let's sing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Daddy. Happy birthday to you.
Well done, Ho Bunny.
Well done, Ho Bunny.
And tickets.
Wow.
Whoa. Okay.
No one for each hand. No. Whoa.
Happy birthday, Daddy 49.
Right, so we're back on Action for Assange, Slow News Day, and Unity for J Channels, and hopefully, I don't know if this time we're managing to get it out on Periscope as well, on Twitter, or maybe not.
Yeah,
Right.
Periscope turned off the Action for Assange account. We just can't even stream to it. And same thing for Slow News Day. It just comes up with video is unavailable, no matter what we try or do.
What about if I gave you access to Candace for Assange? You do it. So you're restricted, and that's what stopped your Periscope, or they're not linked, or yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's linked. They'll still let us broadcast to it, but then when the video plays on Periscope, it says video not available. Yeah.
Well, I noticed when we did do Periscope, and we had loads of views as well. Yeah, and then it would just disappear from Twitter. It just wouldn't be there to share again. So really fun and games from Periscope, and really we're looking forward to the new Twitter. When is that happening? Anyone?
There's like stuff like Mastodon as far as alternative platforms go. I don't think we're broadcasting to it right now. I might be wrong, but we also broadcast to Rockfin. Yeah, and DLive. Yep. So there's tons of alternative video platforms for people out there to watch us on too, because the Unity for J and the Slow News Day DLives we broadcast to, and also onto Twitch. But I think the most we've ever gotten on Twitch was like 3 viewers at a time, and one of them was probably me. So I don't know if that really counts.
Yeah, well, they're really crunching us down, aren't they? I mean, it's like we need a new media network altogether. I mean, I know that Kim.com was working on something, wasn't he? Yeah, God, that's taking its time. It would be really great if that was ready to go, but he's got his own Supreme Court battle in New Zealand trying to stay here at the moment. And I don't know where that's at, actually. I haven't looked into it for a while. Well, I'm not sure if Tulsa's doing well. They're still uploading the app according to this message that I'm getting. So it's slow technology there. I'll just text them again to see if they're up for anything, and I'll text Rio to see if we can get Fabiano Lima in. Otherwise, we might be running dry for a little bit, unless someone to bring.
We could, if we need a video, we could always play Taylor's Activism Munich video for. It goes over much better than I did the expansion of the conspiracy to commit computer intrusion charge.
Okay, I'll try and find that link and send it to the group now. Okay. So Taylor, happy birthday message.
Yeah, we have it in Saturdays, I think. Yeah, Saturdays are last Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Or the
And,
Tuesday before last. Let me rephrase that.
I'm sending you the link from her pin tweet on Twitter, if that's helpful. I don't know if that will get you there.
Yeah.
So I just sent you through Taylor's piece. I guess it's a 2-minute piece on Julie.
Yeah, she put out like a 7.5 minute one that was really good. But last time we tried to play it, it ended up playing Jordan Peterson indefinitely. So, do you remember that? We got trolled by everyone's favorite clean your room boss. Cool.
Hi everyone, I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich, and welcome back to another Julian Assange case update. A U.S. federal grand jury issued a superseding indictment against Assange on Wednesday, June 24th, for allegedly conspiring with the decentralized hacking collective Anonymous. The indictment also alleges that Assange and other WikiLeaks staff recruited hackers and encouraged them to submit material to WikiLeaks. The indictment does not bring any additional charges, but it broadens the scope of a previous charge, conspiracy to commit computer intrusion. The indictment states that Assange and other WikiLeaks staff attended hacking conferences and conventions where they encouraged attendees with sophisticated computer skills to access classified material and submit to WikiLeaks. Additionally, the indictment seeks to condemn WikiLeaks journalist Sarah Harrison for helping Edward Snowden seek refuge in order to escape what would have been an unfair prosecution in the U.S. Now, the second part to this indictment alleges that Assange conspired with Anonymous and other hackers. Much of this portion of the indictment is relying on the testimony of two government informants, Sigurdur Thordarson, known as Sigi, and Hector Monsegur, known as Sabu. Both can be considered unreliable and compromised sources, yet the content of this indictment relies heavily on their statements. In 2010, Assange met Sigi, who was referred to as teenager throughout the indictment. Sigi provided Assange with information on a bank company, and Assange allegedly encouraged him to steal additional information related to activities taking place in what's referred to as NATO Country 1, which is Iceland. The indictment also seeks to tie Manning to this alleged plot against NATO Country 1. It claims that in February 2010, Manning searched for classified information and downloaded State Department files concerning NATO Country 1's government. Now, WikiLeaks then published a classified cable from the U.S. Embassy in NATO Country 1. Apparently, WikiLeaks had received this file from Manning. During the period between 2010 and 2011, Sigi was tasked with managing WikiLeaks' IRC channel and began overseeing communications with others on this channel. The indictment alleges that during this time, Sigi was in communication with anonymous affiliated hackers and was relaying the messages to Assange and speaking to these hackers on Assange's behalf. According to Wired, Sigi was eventually fired from WikiLeaks in the fall of 2011 for embezzling thousands of dollars from the organization. Interestingly, the indictment falsely states that Sigi just left. A few years later, in 2014 and 2015, Sigi was charged and pled guilty to multiple counts on theft and embezzlement. He was also sentenced to prison for sexual assault, which involved minors. And despite this, the FBI chose to work with him anyway, and he became the star witness in this indictment, all to frame a journalist and truth teller, Julian Assange. On June 19th, LulzSec announced it launched Operation Anti-Sec, involving cyber attacks against banks, government agencies, and security firms. Sabu and Jeremy Hammond began working closely together. According to the new indictment, beginning in December of 2011, Hammond and Assange began communicating and discussed the hack of a private intelligence company referred to in the indictment as Intelligence Consulting Company. FBI informant Sabu began communicating with Assange the following month. Sabu asked Assange if he had any other targets in mind. The indictment then states that initially Assange declined to suggest any targets for legal reasons, but eventually went on to suggest what is referred to as research investigative firm. Assange suggested LulzSec look into its databases, documents, and PDFs and submit the findings to WikiLeaks. The indictment claims Assange provided LulzSec with scripts to search the stolen emails from Intelligence Consulting Company. On February 27th, WikiLeaks began publishing the hacked emails, and in March, Jeremy Hammond was arrested as his identity and activities were known to the FBI via Sabu. Hammond was subsequently sentenced to 10 years in prison and accepted a non-cooperating plea deal with one count of violating the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act in relation to the Stratfor hacks. In September 2019, Hammond was summoned to testify before a grand jury investigating WikiLeaks in the Eastern District Court of Virginia. And similar to Chelsea Manning, Hammond refused to testify and was found in contempt. Hammond remains in prison at this time. Meanwhile, Sabu lives comfortably as a free man. Supporters of WikiLeaks and of Assange have spoken out against this indictment, claiming it is part of a larger smear campaign to frame Assange as a hacker and distance his activities from that of a journalist. The new indictment seeks to criminalize the interactions that take place between a journalist and his or her source, and may therefore set a dangerous and chilling precedent for journalists exposing corruption at the highest levels. Now, Assange's next call-over hearing is scheduled for June 29th, where this new indictment is expected to be addressed in the court. I will, of course, continue to follow this case, so do make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you've missed any of my updates, or if you are new here, you can find all of my reports on the playlist Julian Assange Case Updates. I'm Taylor Hudak with Activism Munich. Thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you all next time.
Actually, I think that Fabiana Lima is promising to find some headphones and come on soon. And then we've got Nat and Steph, cyber lawyer, coming in. They're coming in a bit earlier now, so they are going to be in about 15 minutes. If we can hold it until then, that's what I'm told. So we still haven't heard from Tulsa, and I haven't got a message back from them since they asked me if it was Jitsi Meet, the application that they had. Yeah, I know. I've been telling everyone Jitsi, but I thought that was enough. But we'll get there. We'll get there, hopefully. I have not heard back from them, though, so far. And I guess we've that wasn't the video that Taylor did for the birthday that she's got pinned on her Twitter that I sent you, was it?
No, we're going to do that. We can show that one, too. That was the summary of the expanded indictments.
Jeremy Hammond and all that, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Great. And so what are your, I'd love to hear your take on the latest indictments and how you feel it's changed the playing field.
I think they're really weak indictments. If anything, it literally is just more acts of journalism. Searching through archives, as far as I know, isn't illegal. Looking at things is not illegal. Looking for keywords inside of documents is not illegal. So that whole inclusion of provided them tools to query a database is really strange. And by extension of that, if there is an indictment there for querying a database, that database exists on their website and Google has queried that database. So would there be any guilt on their part for looking through this information and putting it in a searchable format? So It's really just utterly ridiculous. And the fact that there's a literal pedophile who is trying to speak out and say, hey, I got indictment for fraud. I stole thousands upon thousands of dollars. But this guy's bad. Like, I don't think that's how that really works, especially in a situation like that.
Remember, folks, WikiLeaks, it's illegal to read WikiLeaks documents unless you're the media, apparently, wasn't it? Who said that? There was some idiot, wasn't it, in America?
I think that was Anderson Cooper, maybe. I might be wrong,
Yeah.
but I'm pretty sure it was him.
Yeah, absolutely nuts. And I wonder if he redacted that. He retracted that statement. No.
No. No, when you're on CNN, you don't have to retract anything. It's fucking ridiculous.
I was wanting to point people towards that may not know in America. We've had quite an active fight against Kath Viner, editor of Guardian, and Luke Harding in The Guardian. And I think that's fair and warranted, and we should keep on with that, and maybe even do sort of dive-in attacks on Guardian. But now I would like to also add to the list of the worst offenders, Sydney Morning Herald, after they published a story this weekend during the week that said Julian Assange is not a journalist, he's a hacker. And you know how that story before it was he's not a journalist, and they couldn't think any good reasons. Now they're going to use this latest indictment to smear him, and I think unsuccessfully. I think it's just becoming more and more apparent to everyone what's really going on here. So while Fabiano is joining us, he's just connecting his headphones, so I think he's ready. I thought I might just read through chronologically the main events on the schedule that we've gone through so far, so we can recap on the cities that have done the main actions. It won't be all the solo ones, but it will be most of the ones that we knew where the location was or they were having an online protest. Shall I go through that list?
Yes, please do.
Okay. So if you haven't seen it already, there's a crazy schedule. I don't know if you can actually see it there, but it's on my tweets on Candles for Assange at the end of a really long thread. And it sets up the way that the actions kind of rolled out around the world, starting in New Zealand, in Auckland, and ending tonight in Toronto at 10 o'clock with any luck. Now, we're not promising to go live for that entire time, but we have managed to cover a whole lot of these events. So I'll go through. So we had Auckland first in New Zealand. They started at 12 noon. So they're officially the first act, and they were on the Aotearoa Square in Auckland, and lots of yellow ribbons there. And we've got some video from them. Then we had Southport in Queensland, where we had Liliana Corridor, Dr. Liliana Corridor, who's a well-known Assange tweeter, and she stood there for an hour at Australia Fair. Then we had Melbourne do the first of their events, and that was at the US consulate at midday. And then we had Darwin starting up their stall, and they were there from 11 till 7 p.m. all day with cake and stall and pamphlets and giving out information. That's one of the girls that was originally in Alice Springs, and now she's moved to Darwin and starting it up there. And Fortress 1977 is the Twitter contact for that. Then we had our Wellington one, which I've talked to about a lot, and we've shown some video from. We had music and lots of things going on in the centre of town yesterday. Nikki Hager did a speech just straight afterwards in a church around the corner, and we all went to go and look at that. There was about Five Eyes and New Zealand's involvement in that, and we played some of those speeches as well from Nikki Hager, New Zealand's investigative journalist who has worked on WikiLeaks releases and is a friend of Julian. He was one of the people that actually helped instigate the journalist statement, speakupforassange.org, which had about 30, oh, sorry, I've just got a message there, 1,300 top journalists signing an open letter for supporting Julian Assange, and included in that list was Chomsky, Daniel Ellsberg, Chris Hedges, and our own New Zealand's Nikki Hager was second on the list after Serena Tanari, who was really the person who instigated the whole thing from Switzerland. So she's an investigative journalist as well. So after Wellington, Melbourne came back in again and did the UK consulate, which was at 3 o'clock their time. And then we had Sydney going at the town hall with candles and birthday singing and all sorts of stuff, music. Then we had Canberra come in online and we saw her candle, and we talked about things that she'd done during the day, which was 170 yellow ribbons on the main thoroughfare into Canberra on the motorway, on the main highway. And then Melbourne did their third event, which was a street event again, which is a weekly event at Flinders Street Station. So they did a party at that point. So that was the third event from Melbourne for WikiLeaks, which is just amazing. Rain there is a Kiwi, actually, one of the key people there. Then we had Perth doing their online event, and we have, their street event, and we haven't got any footage from them yet. I haven't even heard from them, but I think they finished up last night quite late our time. Then we had a German city called Flensburg. I've not heard of it before, but they had a midday protest. Then we went to London and we saw Belmarsh live. That had been going since midday, and that was wonderful. We got some incredible footage there, and hopefully we'll do some edits of that and get back to where the prison governor comes out and talks to our live stream and tells them that he's going to tell Julian about all the protesters outside and all the birthday celebrations going on for Julian outside. So that was really heartwarming. Then we had Vienna doing a little bit of their protest online and on the street. We had Evie on the stream a couple of times. Then we had a whole assortment of German cities all going off, one after the other. Hamburg, Cottbus, Frankfurt, Köln, and Munich all went going off on the one day. I think they had 10 events over this week. We had Saint-Nazaire in France doing something last minute, and I haven't checked in with them yet. Then we had Rome did a protest at the US Embassy, and then we had Chicago. They had a couple of people turn up at the Bean, I think it was, or a monument in town. We had Denver, and we had Kendra on, and we talked to her. Oh my god, problem with names, but it has been a long time without sleep, so do excuse me. And then Denver, we had Rio on the street. We had Natal. Now Natal I want to speak about because I'm hoping we're going to get some footage from them. I really wanted to talk to them, but I think language was the problem. And they did a mass. They did a Buddhist ceremony. There were lots of prayers for Julian over a 4-hour period and lots of good vibes. She told me there were people from all different religions who came and did some prayers for Julian, which was really lovely to, and they lit candles and they did all that stuff. So really lovely to hear. That's just a little bit north of Rio, who we're hopefully going to talk to soon. And then we've got Mexico coming on shortly. We have, hello, Mexico has just arrived. We have Tulsa, who are letting off balloons on their walk, and we're really hoping to capture that, but we're having trouble connecting to them because they're out and about, and perhaps they're out of network. It's not possible to know really what's going on. We've got Concord is doing a protest at 5:30 to 6:30 outside the Concord State House. Then we've got then we've got Toronto at the very end of the program, 10 o'clock. We've got Steve McMaster. He's going to go out to the US Embassy and light some candles, and hopefully we could come back in live and see if he wants to talk to us. It just depends, really, if he's filling up for it.
Alex,
now,
how are you still awake?
I know. Well, I've had 3 hours, so it's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have managed to reach Stephanie as well to bring her on a little bit earlier?
Yeah, she's
Brilliant.
trying to connect right now.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, we still haven't got Fabiano coming on, and he was saying it was going to be seconds, not that long ago. But anyway, I will try and reach him again. Andrew, anything to add?
I'm just impressed. All of those cities pulled together.
Hi, Andrew.
That's just that's a feat of strength. How are you, Nat?
Fine, and you?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you for joining us.
No, thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. How's everything going down in Mexico right now?
Not that good, but I mean in general. But today was a very nice day.
Good.
So Stephanie is going to talk to us later today about what is she going to talk to us about? Not about Commander X, but about
Well, today was a huge day for Mexico because Stephanie managed Amnesty International Mexico to launch a campaign for Julian. And it's deeply moving for me because I asked for this many years ago. And today they launched the campaign. So it's a very nice day for us here in Mexico. So she's going to talk about, she's part of Amnesty International. So she's talking about how she managed to convince them to get on board to defend Julian. And it was a very nice campaign and people are responding to it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so
Wonderful.
I wanted to show you first these beautiful posters that we posted in Mexico City. It's Happy Birthday Julian in Spanish. And so we put them in around the city. And then we got together for a cake made for Julian. And so Stephanie will talk to you about the campaign when she gets in.
Right. Okay.
Could you talk a little bit more about the action that you guys have done today, but also previously? Because I find the work that you've done really, really inspirational.
Oh, thank you. Well, I was very lucky to found Stephanie a couple of months ago. So I have been doing this Mexico for Julian page from October to today, mostly by myself, but now I have her, so it was very good I have her. And we've been trying to let people know who Julian is. As I talked before, many people here don't know who Julian is, or they have like this misinterpretation of who he is. So that's what we have been doing. Today we went with a couple of friends that have been supporting me for this long time, and we gathered in a park, and we sang Happy Birthday in Spanish, and we had like the posters around the city, and I don't know what else I can tell you.
But that's really cool. That's actually what I'm planning later this evening, is going out with some friends, because 4th of July in the United States is Independence Day, like the day we got our Constitution, like it fucking means anything now. But there's some cities around me that are having a 4th of July event tomorrow, and throughout the weekend. Some on Sunday, there's some on Monday. So I'm going to go out to those locations being the night before and put up posters and some of the signs and banners that I have. So hopefully, while the people that still have the ability to gather, they can remember Julian Assange on an Independence Day.
That's great. I think it's very important to try to put him before, like you said, like it's a difficult situation in the US. So I think it's great to try to put Julian first in these times of very complex times.
Yeah, I wanted you to also give a big thank you, and I've forgotten the name, I'm embarrassed, but the guy that's been helping do all the graphics as well, the beautiful Free Assange posted Happy Birthday Julian poster in yellow, and all those things, the map pins, all these things that look so awesome. And if we were more organized, we'd get it together in a bit more professional way, because those maps were the best. I don't know what you call them. That they were sort of like 3D maps, the real pin in them, like photographed, and they were just beautiful, and just never got around to making them into the map. But I think if I had done a video with those kind of maps, it would have been awesome. I needed to find out how to do it.
I think we can do better next year, but this year was awesome too, and I want to thank you because you let me be part of the image of the Candles for Assange this year. And my friend, his name is Oscar, and he's donating his time and his work doing these amazing graphics for the campaign worldwide and in Mexico.
He's like the Mexican Somerset Bean, right?
Yes, he is. And he's very happy when I have shared the other countries that have used his graphics. And even Mrs. Christine Assange today, she liked one of that. And I sent him the screenshot, and he was shocked and he was so proud. He was like, oh, I just want to help, and it's amazing that it's going around the world. And so I thank him very much for the support.
Yeah, basically all the times that I've had dramas during Candles for Assange, from the very first day that I met you, connected to Mexico to do birthday last year, from the very first day, like, you've been the person that I'm panicking, a bit like Andrew, he's so calm as well, like, you know, the person that you can ring up when you're freaking out and you just need someone to like settle you down and just go,
thank
breathe.
you. No, I thank you so much. You make me cry because I cry a lot. So I am forever grateful to you. And honestly, what you've done is so amazing, that you unite the whole world. And
what we've done, we.
Honestly, what you've done is so amazing. And I admire you deeply. And I thank you. And I hope when we see Julian free, we are going to be able to celebrate and say that it was all worth. So
yeah, a great big hug. Bear hugs to all you guys, because I just can't wait to meet you in person and give you the biggest squeeze.
This is going to be all worth it.
Yeah, totally.
So we do have Stephanie that hopped in here with us. How are you today, Stephanie?
You might have to unmute yourself, Stephanie. I don't know if she can hear us. It might be a picture of Susan, so we might need to message her in there. Oh no, she's here now. So, Steph, can you see us? Stephanie Valerio, unmute, please. Can you unmute so we can hear from you?
Hello, how are
you? Hello. Hello again.
I do very well.
Thank you for joining us on the live stream, especially at last minute notice like this. It's great.
Yes, it's a great day and a time to remember Julian, and we hope he will be free very soon.
So, can you talk a little bit about what Amnesty International has decided to do recently, and the accomplishments you've managed to make there? Because I think that's one of the most exciting things that have come in the last, I don't know, year now since Julian's been in prison.
Well, first of all, I have to say that I'm not a spokesman from Amnesty. I'm just an activist, but I believe that Amnesty cares about Julian. Sometimes it's very difficult to give or to make actions because it's a huge movement. It's the biggest movement of human rights in the world. So maybe sometimes it's difficult to make an action because they need to review and to check all legal things, and they have to acknowledge all the other amnesties in the world, no? So in Mexico, I am an activist. I'm part of the youngest part of Amnesty. We have a campaign called Brave. I believe that it's the name for the world campaign. So I'm very happy because we use all our knowledge to defend all the human rights defenders or activists. So I'm very happy. So I didn't do so much. I spoke with our director Tanya, and she was very happy and glad that Mexico decided to spoke for Julian Assange. She gave me the petition that they have. So I talked with my team, and we decide to make this action. You have to take a photo and to cover your mouth, and you have to use special hashtags like justice for Assange in Spanish, justicia para Assange, and you have to use el periodismo no es delito, and journalism is not a crime. So I'm very happy because they care. They really care about Julian.
But let me, Stephanie, what you did, and especially it was launched today, or a couple of days ago, but people are participating today, and it's, for me, it's so huge and important because it didn't happen before, and it was a beautiful coincidence. It was today, and people are responding to it, and honestly, it means, for me, it means the world, because I've been trying to do this for years, and you did it. So thank you so much.
Oh, I really love you, and I understand the things that you said about amnesty, and these things that happen today. It's totally part of your work. It's totally part of your work. If I, well, I'm an activist, but you gave me this braveness and the first to make this happen. So I thank Amnesty International Mexico and my team, because they are sharing, they are taking the photos, they are using the hashtags, and I don't know, we are so happy, you know.
It's something to be proud.
Definitely
I'm very happy.
to be proud of. And it's partly because people have been so vocal in Mexico. I mean, we've had the president speak out, we've had things in the media, we've had press releases, we've had you guys on the streets. We've had two sets of protests almost every time in Mexico going on. And, you know, it's only because of things like that. And I think that's why we saw action in European Parliament as well, because we had so many people in the streets in Germany because of the excellent work of German Candles for Sun. And I think that's why the European Parliament started to respond, and we started to see these MPs talking out. I think all of us have made a really massive difference in our own special way. You know, we all do it differently, but we've all played a part in that, definitely. And we can all see that there's changes in the way that people are dealing with us on the street. You can see a tangible change, which is really great.
Yeah, and it's a huge victory for Amnesty to put this out. So I'm so proud of you guys for the work that you've done out there and just what you've been able to.
Yes, please. And you have to take your photo, please, and tag Amnesty International and my team, Valientes Metropolitanes.
So, Stephanie, what's your Twitter handle? What's your Twitter account, Stephanie? So we can follow your posts.
Amnesty International Mexico, Amnistía Internacional México, and Valientes Metropolitanes. It's very difficult to write these words, so
maybe you can send us the link. Yeah, post it and so that we can send it to the people in the chat, maybe. Yeah.
Of course, your support, and it's I'm very excited about this, and I really not. You are my. So thank you for all your work. Thank you for all you do for Assange and for the world, because we need you. We really need you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and like all the people who are being effective, if you're being really effective, then you're probably getting attacked right now, by Kevin or what him anyway.
Well,
Kevin. But yeah, I want to acknowledge that, Nat, because I know you've had difficulties, and I know we've all had them. We don't know whether it's against real supporters, we don't know whether it's against detractors or whatever it is. But we've fought through it, and we're coming out the other side. I think, you know, we are getting there.
Well, my brother sent me an email today saying, "I can't believe you're giving Julian Assange money and not me," and I'm like. Yeah, I was laughing a lot. It was like, I'm not giving him any money. I'm just fighting for his life. But people misinterpret things like this all the time, and they don't understand the importance for some of us that has his life and his well-being in our lives too. Like, for me, he makes this world a better place, and I don't think the world is a nice place at all, but he makes me think it's a better place because of him and what he's done, and because of all this activism net that I am very lucky to be part of. So yeah, many people don't understand this, even close people to us, you know.
I think once you've had a few successes in this world, you actually, I felt after Candles for Assange, I was going around thinking, wow, I can die happy now. I've actually achieved something that made some kind of difference. Like, it's a little splash in the pan, but at least I can say I stood up for free press when it was falling around our feet and we were losing it and falling off the cliff. You know, I was there and we were all doing that. And I hope it doesn't come to a point where we have to say, oh, we were right and you were wrong, because it would be really nice if people wake up before we get to the point where we realize, yeah, we were right. But yeah, that's one of the reasons that I guess gives us strength to keep on going, even through trolls and attacks and personal life sort of influences that suddenly come into your life when you started doing activism in this area. It's incredible. But I think, the good stuff, the goodness and the love and the supportive solidarity, and knowing that there's all these woken up people around the world, we're just not being allowed to access them. Yeah, they're all there.
It's been a day full of love. I felt all this day, all the photos and everything. I felt like this day was about love for Julian, and that doesn't happen every day of the year.
No, and I think when you twin up protesting vigils with birthday cake and balloons and ribbons and music and candles, those are all things, funny enough, that stop people who might come in and try and cause violent protests or try and detract people from doing what they should be doing. I think those things are all almost symbolic of not going down that path. And you can't arrest a violinist hula hooping on the side of the road. You can't. It just would look too bad. And I think that's kind of where we're going. I think that's where we're going to be most successful, is when we do come from love, and when we use those props that make it impossible to turn us into baddies.
The best thing to bring, especially in the summer, is bottles of water. If you bring a couple cases of bottled water and some ice in a cooler, then you're like the hit of whatever event you crash. You could walk into literally anywhere, hand someone a bottle of water and a free Julian Assange poster on a hot summer day, and you just literally took over basically the main event. So it's one of those little simple things that, like you're saying, acts of love, like simple acts of kindness, like, hey, let me share hydration and this flyer with you, and then we can talk about what's going on.
I've handed out bin liners before when people have been pouring food on. And here you go, pack bin liners. You can all have your own raincoat or whatever. No, I think acts of kindness are the way forward, and also making the comedian side of it, doing the Jimmy Dore or the, just trying to make fun and light of it, because you mock them, and it's very hard for them to come back at that when you mock them with comedy, just making them look so ridiculous. It's almost like 40 hours reporting on politics these days. It's a joke. You see people responding to the latest bullshit in the narrative, the Ukraine gate or the Russia gate or the latest, it's you bash your head against the wall seeing this. Eh?
Yes.
Well, he's got that little gift of a cartoon person bashing their head against the wall, a little black stick figure. And so one time when he kept on repeatedly asking me on World Press Freedom Day, just before it was about to go on, I still didn't know the schedule, and he kept on asking me when to go on, and I still was like, look, it's all open, just choose your time. But we were like miscommunicating, and in the end I got one of those. Oh, no. Yeah. Oh, well, he might be still driving back from San Fran, right? I don't know how far away he is.
He's messaging right now. He's trying to get in, but accidentally. I just resent him the link, so he should be on in a minute.
Yeah, I think Fabiano is saying that he can't get in. Something to do with security. Yeah. I don't really understand, but MIUI. I don't know why he seems to. It says, okay, can you tell me what this means? Veja o que é compartmenteie? And then it says something MIUI. What is that? Veja o que é compartmenteie. Munich. I have no idea what that means, but Fabiano is having trouble getting in. I don't know if that's the same problem Steve's having. No, I mean, I could put it in a translate and see what it comes out like. But, we got Steve. Yay! Wonderful.
I gotta go grab smokes too. I'll be back.
Okay, cool.
Good to see you, buddy.
Yeah,
Hey.
definitely. We've been waiting to try and hear from Rio and Tulsa, and neither of them have been able to get in. I don't know if we had trouble getting into our call, but yeah, something. And also, I've got hold of Randy Critico, and he wanted to come in as well. But I don't know when and what he's planning.
Okay, I don't think we really have a plan either.
Yeah, I don't think we do. I think it's kind of just go with it. Did you hear about the... Hey, this is well played enough. We're all here.
Oh, should I do the thing with the nice shirt too?
I mean, you can't. I stole your tie.
What I like about these...
No, my tie's right here.
We're not doing the highbrow journalism, intelligent questions. We're just a bunch of people chatting and getting together about our actions around the world, or maybe planning about how we can have future actions and do them more effectively. And I quite like the casualness of this kind of feed. It's a different beast to, clip questions and informing you with loads and loads of facts and important guests. But it's a different kind of beast, but I really think it's a wonderful one that we all need to feel that solidarity thing.
Okay, because I wasn't really planning on combing my hair.
Yeah.
Oh, it was consulate security that just kind of kept harassing the organizer guy about hanging signs on a freaking plywood construction barrier. Yeah, that was technically private property because it belongs to the consulate. Where did my smokes go?
Where was he?
It's been a long day, man.
It has. How have we been going, Josh? I know Josh is taking his dog out, but I think you're back. Because I started I did my first live feed from Wellington about 24 hours ago, 25 hours ago. And then I came back on probably 18 hours ago and didn't really get off apart from 3 hours. So we've been doing quite well.
I don't know how you do it. I saw you it was like 3 a.m. for me, and now it's like 8 at night for me, and I don't know you're still going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I slept the whole time, and then I just woke up with the message to come back on, and then oh my God. Yeah. So I don't know. Do you, Steve? Do you want to tell us any more? I'm not sure what happened to Fabiano or Tulsa.
Oh, no, I mean, it was a little bit shorter than I thought it was going to be. I think that most everybody had already spoken. I was planning on it, but then I turned around and I was like, oh, they're packing up. Okay. Well, I'll hang out for a little bit more anyway, because it's almost a 2-hour drive. So I got to walk along the lovely shit-streamed streets of sunny San Francisco. Dude, and I have to go through the TL on my way out, Yeah, yeah. Which is just an exercise in depression, driving through the Tenderloin in San Francisco.
Hi, I'm here. Right now I'm here. Hi, everyone. Hi. Okay, it's a good pleasure to meet you here.
Are we live right now?
Okay, I'm Fabiano Lima, but I am with other cell phone, and this is a security cell phone. And I need to. Oh, hi, Alex. You are very. Oh my God, Alex, you are pretty. Pretty woman. Oh my God. Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah, my voice is good. Okay, my headphone is good. Can you hear me good?
Oh yeah, man.
Okay, good. Okay, okay. Let's go.
The yellow ribbons around trees outside the US Embassy in Rio, is that right?
Oh yes. Oh, but at the embassy, for 2 hours ago, uh, for me it's dangerous because the police is watching me. And Rio de Janeiro is a dangerous city. Oh yeah, but here in my home, oh no problem. But it's okay. I have pictures here and something to post on our event. I'm feeling wonderful with you and with everyone here. Okay, free Assange, free Julian Assange. We are fighting for Julian. We are fighting for freedom. We are fighting for free speech. Okay, it's very good, very good. Okay, this is my real face.
Lit Randy Credico there too.
I think we might have.
Yeah, hello.
Hello.
I snuck in.
And Mexico and San Fran and New Zealand on at the moment.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I'm like, I don't want to say where I am because a few people want to kill me, but I'm somewhere upstate. I'm somewhere upstate. That's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Upstate New York.
Right, and have
Hello?
you had any luck finding Anon Scan? I know that they went missing and you were calling out for them. Have we heard from them yet?
Whom?
Anon Scan.
No, Anonymous Scandinavia. I have not heard from them since he made a video for me. His last one is an interview I did in July 2017 with Stella Morris and Julian Assange, and he took and isolated that, made it into a video, and put that out there. And he was helping me with every one of my shows this year. Everyone, when you came on, and everybody else, all the activists, he was already gone. So he had done for the last 4 years. He did all of my short promos. He did all of my sound clips. He took made these little videos that I did on the show. So it's a big loss. Them, one person in particular who I worked with there, and he and I became very good friends. And so it's very alarming that that person has and whoever works with him have not done anything, because he was such a solid, hardcore, long-term supporter of Assange, long-term, and he put everything into it.
They made excellent videos, and I know that you scored your countdown for freedom on those channels. So it was easier to get it broadcast to more people, wasn't it? You know what I thought when I first saw them go down, and you talk about it? I wondered whether they were operating out of some kind of business, and the business had been locked down during COVID, or something like that.
look, I know all about the situation with this particular person that runs it, and that person is somewhere in Scandinavia. I don't want to say where, but was, and we talk 3 or 4 times a day, and he's very enthusiastic. But there was attempts. He's under surveillance and all of that, and he's got a very sophisticated security system there, and he's a genius. The person really is a genius, and he's dedicated all of his last 10 years in support of Assange. And, not everybody recognizes him. I don't think this person got enough recognition for the work that he did. He certainly did it all out of his own pocket. He never made a nickel out of this thing. He had certain, differences with strategy and all of that, and was very outspoken. And I don't know. It's for me, it was a major loss to the creativity of this program. And so I don't have the elements that he provided on a regular basis to promote. I don't get as many tweets now because, he always zipped up the promos and everything. Mm-hmm. So it definitely has to come back going into the next 10 weeks. I hope that this person and the organization does. But, I don't know what to say. It's been very depressing after speaking to him every single day and then to totally not speak to him the last 2.5 months.
Yeah, he certainly seemed to really tapped into what was going on in the campaign, and you certainly knew that you were getting good information when you went to stand on scan for a second and to look at what's there later.
Listen, there was nobody smarter than him. He ran his own intel. He used to say he ran an intel organization because he could figure out anything. He knew everything that I did. He knew that I was shadow banned. He was able to find out that I was shadow banned. He helped out a lot of people who had problems. When Stefani Maurizi was shadow banned, I know he tried to intervene there. But the person is such a he's got that rare genius that some of these people in that line of business have. And at an older age, and most of these guys are like 25 that have it, 30, but he's like closer to my age. And, he just had good politics, cultural awareness, and knew everything about what was going on with the NSA, with the GCHQ. I mean, he just, it's a big loss for him not to be functioning at this critical juncture, because he really did lift up the spirits of a lot of people. And that's, I've spoken so much about Anonymous Scandinavia, but you're all there. I admire all of the activists out there. For many years, I'm a street protester. I'm an organizer. And I know that's the key to this right now. It's not in the upper echelons. It's the street movement that, that gets people, whether it be the French Revolution, the Paris Commune, it's the people on the street that you got to get the asses of the masses onto the streets. And, in this country, we still haven't been able, as much as I've tried from my little portal, haven't been able to influence enough Americans. You got the right that doesn't like him because of his exposure of crimes by the U.S. military and its various intelligence agencies. But he also doesn't, liberals don't like him because they've smeared him so badly. And they're so angry that Trump won. It's very difficult. It's critical to get them. It's better than to antagonize those liberals and be mad at them. That's not working. The best thing is try to get them on our side right now so they start writing and understand how critical it is for their own future that Assange not be extradited and then ultimately convicted. So you really have to influence the American public opinion. It's a stupid country. What can I tell you? You can't even do it in Australia enough, right? But more of a percentage there. I can't hear.
Josh is going to yell at us if we have dead air for too long. Sorry.
No, Alex was muted.
Thank you for the super chat, Rob Juno. I appreciate that. It's one of those moments of bipartisanship in terms of the upper echelons that you were speaking of, Randy, that that you only see when there's like a massive military budget to be passed, or some sort of, deeply nefarious surveillance bill, and we've got a near uniformity of opinion and even talking points from both the Republicans and the Democrats about Julian Assange. Both Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden, within months of each other, back in I want to say 2014, referred to Julian Assange as a high-tech terrorist, and they used that exact phraseology. So it's not like they had similar talking points, it was identical. George Carlin, of course, used to say that bipartisan just means that a larger than normal deception is taking place. And I think that we see a lot of that on, I guess, quote unquote, both sides of the aisle here politically. I don't know if there's I don't know if there's necessarily a political route to go towards, at least here in the States. Like, I think the people that are getting a hold of members of parliament in the UK every day is a necessary action. Here in the US, it's, I don't know, oligarch solidarity, I guess.
Yeah, I think the most effective route here in the US is through contacting different activist organizations and different pre-existing groups, just so that way, while they're acting and talking, they remember that a free press is at risk right now, and the right to literally share information that is counter to the government narrative or harms American national interest. So it's something that every activist group and every different thing, from the Ron Paul Liberty Institute to like the Democratic Socialists of America and pretty much anything in between, it's those organizations that will ultimately, in my opinion, be able to have the largest amount of influence, because they're the ones that have the people that are paying attention.
Hey, wait a second. Have you heard anybody from the DSA come out strongly in support of Julian Assange?
The individual members have. I've gone to like the DSA Cleveland meetings here and spoken with them about it. They gave me the floor to speak for about 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't even know who they are.
Oh, OC would be one, or the most progressive members of the House of Representatives. I haven't heard anyone from that. Maybe Rand Paul. You need somebody other than him, and he's not DSA, of course, in support of Assange.
No, the only representative that really went on the record for Julian Assange was Tulsi Gabbard.
Right.
And I don't even know if I believe that, to be perfectly honest with you. I want to, but it's hard. It really is. We have really a uniformity of thought, and it's not just, it goes beyond like the groupthink that we all experience whenever we have to be on social media, where you see different bubbles that kind of occasionally rub up against each other and then they sort of attack each other because of countervailing narrative. But those bubbles all exist in their own independent and individual groupthink. When it comes to elected representatives who at least on camera tend to hate each other because they've got a base to pander to, they really, because it's such and I hate to use the term elite because we are speaking about the predator class here, but it's such a small club of people within the 535 elected members of Congress that their groupthink is I guess couched entirely in what is best for the national security state, and that makes them particularly evil. I think is the word that I'm trying to use here, because very rarely have the interests of national security and the interests of the populace of any country been aligned.
All good points. All good points. We could spend 6 months here talking about how fucked up the political system is in this country, as it is in almost all Western democracies. And we know it's these are prostitutes that work for corporations. Are you vaping too? Is that a vape? All right.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Wow. All right. So I may as well join you then. So, but you know, the narrow question right now is how do we influence a public? I mean, over the last month, you see what's happened here in this country with the organizational strength of grassroots Black Lives Matter movements and those that are involved with them, or progressive groups on the ground. How much of an effect? We don't have that for Julian Assange here. You know what I mean? It's not like it's Nelson Mandela who had widespread support, and that is something that we need for him at this point in time. That's why I've said to Alex, and I had a show dedicated to the organizers, how important it is to just continue the grassroots movement, particularly over the next 10 weeks. And how do we affect those people to be as emotionally involved as they are in the Black Lives Matter movement in this country? Of course, we're talking about 400 years of crimes against African Americans here. We're talking about systemic racism. You're talking about the court system, which they've been, and that's another thing. The court system here, which Assange may face. African Americans have faced these Kafka-esque situations for centuries, and they still do. That's why you have 3 million people in prison in this country. How do you get people out there to rally behind Julian Assange? You want to take a crack at that?
Well, I'll take a crack at it because we've seen it become successful. We've seen it grow, and then COVID happened, and it just put a very convenient clamp on all of that, and it took George Floyd's 8-minute and 46-second suffocation to get people over 4 months of nonstop fear mongering before they left their houses in a political action. And I think that there's a way to piggyback off of that momentum, especially when you can make clear the point that your ability to communicate your cause, whatever it is your cause's success is dependent on your ability to communicate your message. If there's no such thing as a free press anymore, if investigative journalists don't have the ability to do their jobs as investigative journalists to expose the madness of a militarized police force or the targeting of activists within your cause's sphere, then your cause is doomed to fail, no matter what. So it's vital that there's some sort of, cross movement recognition that takes place, and I think that a good way to start doing that is to talk more and more about fusion centers and the way that they operate and how it helps coordinate federal and local targeting of activists and organizers and people of that nature. But I'm gonna shut up because we got 4, 5, 6, 7 other people in here. I've been hogging a lot of this.
Yeah, me too. I'm gonna shut up.
Is a national security. And we're seeing things like, I don't know, do you know what a D notice is? And these think tanks, and these groups like 77th Brigade and what was before Integrity Initiative, Stagecraft, Institute of Stagecraft in Britain, paid for by the MI6, this sort of information. And the problem is when defense becomes a national security risk, we become the terrorists that they need to shut down by their own rules that they set out in 9/11 or Patriot Act or wherever they introduced them, even more recently, where you're starting to be able to arrest people just because of minor COVID offences or whatever, or pre-arrest people before they even go out to protest, like in Australia, what we've seen in Australia. And D-notices are another method which they use to shut us up. So I have a feeling that Assange, almost any positivity about Assange is almost a D-notice in itself. Like that we're facing that they know that they can't talk about it, otherwise they're, I don't know, potentially subject to criminal offence under their rules, because their rules are so far gone. But I do notice that the more that people get away from the partisan, the duopoly, when people stop hoping for a duopoly answer, they stop arguing so much and they stop having those squabbles. And you saw that, within Unity for a Day between libertarians and lefties and right-wing people, you had a real feeling that we're all on the same side. You began to get that glimmer. And then we had up to 50 cities doing weekly or monthly protests just before COVID and then shut down. So from all that energy, I mean, Candles for Assange was listing, I think Randy Critico read it out on one of his shows. There were 120 events in February around the February 24th trial. And that's what got me meeting Randy, because he couldn't believe it. But I was just writing down whatever I saw other people doing for the trial. That's all that happened there. But I think that we are all going to be able to work together much better when we abandon this notion that politicians are going to save us, because that's just bullshit.
Yeah. Freaking mute. Try to be polite, and then you start to talk, and just, no, that's why we try to hammer home the point that what Action for Assange is post-partisan. We don't think that you can have a legitimate conversation about policy or really the future of what your either anywhere from municipality to nation can be without unfettered access to primary source documents and information about what your government is already doing in your name. So we've been able to, I don't know, get some people on board with that notion, but people really like their partisanship. They really do. They really like to be a part of a team, even if that team is losing, which is something that me as a Chicago Cubs fan can identify with.
I think we all had a lot of hope for
I can't hear you at all, but you're like bathed in blue light, and it looks like you're wearing a yellow cape, and like it's like you look like wizardy.
I don't know what to do about it, because I muted. I just see if that looks better. I'm so sorry. Can you hear me if I? Can you hear that?
I can hear you a little better.
Okay. For example, here in Brazil, in my country here, the people don't know about Julian Assange. Okay, and they need to know. The media, the big media, just told lies about Julian Assange and about WikiLeaks. Okay, I remember a long time ago. I told it to you, I think, but a long time ago, in front of the United Kingdom, in front of the embassy of the UK, I was make a protest in front of the UK, but just 6 people. And in Brazil and in Latin America, they don't know the importance of Julian's freedom, because Julian, for me and for others, is a hero, just a hero. He said just the truth, okay, and we need to make the people wake up. The people need to wake up about it. The people need to wake up about. the truth. Okay, war crimes and a lot of others bad things, bad governments around the world. Okay, they leech. Okay, they want just our money. They want just our. They don't want our freedom. They don't want free speech. They leech. Okay, and it's very important. Okay, we continue protesting, we continue to protest online or wait a minute, please, or online or at the streets. What do you think?
I think it's
Yeah.
it's a mix of both, where we need protests online and in the streets. My personal philosophy is go to where people are, because our numbers are small, but all of us are very enthusiastic and well understood in the situation. So going to a place where other people are already congregating, instead of trying to get 500 people to you, you just go to where 500 people are. And as long as you bring the right message for the right crowd, it gives you the power to, once you've learned how to do it and have practiced it enough, but can just capture a room or a moment, just knowing what to say to certain groups of people, be it accurate about Julian, but just in the way that they need it heard to understand that free press is at risk.
Yes, yes.
Yes, and also don't get discouraged if only a few people show up. Fabiano, it's very nice to meet you. It's Natalia
Hi.
from Mexico, and I want to thank you for making me part of your event. But don't get discouraged, because we've been fighting, Stephanie and I, the same thing here in Mexico. People don't know who Julian is, and we've been trying to wake people up, and I've been in this for years, and I try to not to get discouraged about people not showing up or not responding, and eventually it will come. Like today, we were talking about Stephanie's effort to make Amnesty International Mexico launch a campaign for Julian, and it happened today. So it was a beautiful thing that happening today. So it will come, and so all your efforts are not going to be unappreciated, you know?
Yeah. Yes, I know. Sure.
Well, yeah, the other thing is that we all support each other and we all broadcast to each other's groups as well. And I mean, even though you only have one person on the street, I was one person with a hula hoop and a violin. And, you know, if you make enough of a funny spectacle or a comedian act or do something viral, maybe you're making a bit of a fool of yourself. But the amount of people you reach as one person with one person videoing it, and then you put it on social media, it's not to be scoffed at. That's an achievement. I know that part of that is that we're just broadcasting to other activists within those silos, but I think there are ways of getting out of that. We need to all be more comfortable jumping onto mainstream threads and crafting the message to fit what you're going and talking about, whether it's environment or human rights or law, whatever it is, it's always going to apply. It's very easy to twist the words to make them suit. Very easy.
And from what I've seen, you in Brazil are making like a lot of things right now. So instead of thinking about not all the people that didn't show up, you should congratulate yourself, because you have a lot of presence in the social media. Your group and your event and your post has been making a presence. So be happy with that and be proud of yourself because of that.
Absolutely, because especially with what we're doing, every action makes a difference. Every single individual you interact with makes a difference, because it's a question as simple
Yes,
of,
this.
yeah, no, go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
No, okay. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, I was just going to say, it's as simple as asking people like, hey, do you think that people should be killed for profit? Do you think that your government should be able to use your money to aggressively invade a foreign country and then prosecute the person that revealed that information. Because ultimately, in a large extent, all of our governments, in some way, shape, or form around the world, each of us here, have been exposed for the true tyranny that they actually are.
Are there people who understand what the Bolsonaro government was trying to do to Glenn Greenwald? And can you explain that as, or use that as kind of this is a microcosm of what will happen to journalists in general if the U.S. gets to get away with their broad daylight kidnapping of Julian inside of a show trial courtroom?
I mean, in Australia, we've already seen the effects of that chilling effect on journalism. Not just in
just what, just yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, there's a number of cases. I mean, obviously we spoke to David McBride, but there's a number of cases in Australia that are very relevant, and we spoke to David about how the timing of those court cases together might help each other, Julian and the other one, because they're very similar. And so it would be very hard to have one finding on one and then a different finding on the other. It would show how ridiculous and arbitrary they are with their law.
So I was wondering, Stephanie, if you could talk for a little bit about President AMLO down in Mexico and his statements about supporting Julian.
Well, he made an statement, but
Yeah, about the statement that he had made.
so sorry, can you hear me?
Yes. No, ya no.
Yes, he has made well, we have a lot of problems related to COVID now, so we are taking care about. Oh, no,
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear me
Mm-hmm.
now?
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Sorry. So I think that we are very worried about COVID, so we are not taking care about information. So, but I believe that that AMLO is not as bad as we think related with it, because he gave this asylum to our friend Commander X. So I think that this is a really good posture from our president. So we are not talking about this from Julian in government, just from activism. So it's important to be defense. And I want to share with you that yesterday I gave a class about hacktivism, hacktivist and hacktivist cultures. Sorry, yes, culture. So people use the word hacker in a bad way. So I talk about the difference about hackers and crackers and hacktivism and criminals and terrorism, and they care and they are very interested in knowing about this terminology, but they don't have these, I don't know, the tools and the people talking about this, because when you use the word hacker, you think that you're talking about enemies or bad people. So I think that we need to share the information about the hacker culture, born in the MIT, and all these things that we already know. And I think that United States love to use the word enemy and the creator. So I believe that this is a psychological war. So we need to use another words, because they use the word enemy and they told us that enemies are like bugs or like other animals, but they don't have human rights. So I believe we have to change this. We have to talk about this.
But I think it's important because AMLO is going to visit Trump in a couple of days or weeks, I think. And it would be important for López Obrador to mention this to Trump, because he mentioned Julian months ago, but it would be important to mention him again, because at the end it's Trump who is prosecuting Julian.
So each week, we put out a different set of actions for people to take. And what I'll do, knowing that, because I wasn't aware that AMLO was meeting with Trump anytime soon.
Yeah.
I found the emails to every one of the Mexican embassies and consulates throughout, like literally throughout the world, but most specifically here in the United States. So I will put those up on our website for different Julian Assange supporters to be able to take and send personalized or personal emails, because we don't have a template or anything for people. We just put emails out and hope that they'll send their own. So I'll put out those consulates and embassies next week. And I think that would be something really cool, just to ask AMLO, hey, please bring up Julian Assange.
Yes. So it's for like a context or background. So apparently López Obrador hasn't left the country in 20 years. So this is going to be like a really important, huge visit, because he's willing to go to Washington to meet the president. And I think it would be important to, I mean, it's a
I
huge
was
visit.
glad that we are having troubles with this new intellectual property law that
Well, you're breaking up on us really bad. You cut out there for a minute. You're back.
No te escuchábamos.
Sorry. I was talking about. So we have these problems because we have a new intellectual property law. So this is something that we are talking about law to set up people and and yes, they are taking this law in order to I need to study this law, because what they say that they are willing to take down all our rights. So
You're breaking in and out on us really, really bad. But I do have to just stop to say that there was a beautiful cat on camera. So I did want to ask you, Fabio,
I need to read it, but
in Rio and in Brazil at large, who are, if you know, like the countries that own, in a way, the media out there, and is there any really favorable news coverage for Julian out there?
Okay, but you told something about hacking and cracker. Okay, in 195, the hacker community put this name cracker for the criminals, but hacker is not a crime, because I am cybersecurity researcher, okay, and I know I can show the world a lot of things, but I have ethical. I'm an ethical hacking, okay, and I can't invite, for example, your cell phone, your iPhone. No, it's not interesting to me. But when a government makes a crime to the people, it's interesting. It's interesting to hack this, and this is important. The people around the world needs to understand it. What is hacking? Hacking is show to the world the truth. It's not to invade. It's not a crime. Invade. We need to make the people wake up about it. Okay. What do you think?
I think
Everyone
that.
hacker.
Oh, go ahead, Stephanie. I'm sorry.
I only want to say that everyone can be a hacker because hackers don't need to know about technology or computers. So it's people that it's very intelligent and that love to know about new things and learn and to improve things. So you can be a hacker if you are a lawyer or if you are a politician or if you are anything. So I want to add this.
So just to give him a
Yeah,
shout out,
that's it.
there was a
I'll take a
politician
glass of water.
here in the United States named Francis O'Rourke. He went by Beto O'Rourke. It actually came out that he was a former Cult of the Dead Cow member. And I don't know if everyone knows who Cult of the Dead Cow is, but he was Psychedelic Warlord, I believe his name was, for Cult of the Dead Cow. So just to kind of point it back to what you were saying, you'll find people who were once in or may still be in some way involved in the hacker community in politics and in these places. Not that he's a good guy, because he's really not, but the poetry that he wrote is on point. I won't repeat it or try to, but
Please don't.
It's graphically horrible.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bobby Franny. Did you know, Stephanie, that per the 2020 NDAA, if you are labeled as a hacktivist, a leaktivist, which is a brand new word that the government made up, or a public disclosure outlet, you are now in the same category as Al Qaeda and Al Nusra and every other terrorist organization, at least here in the States. I'm sure that will apply internationally in U.S. criminal courts if they're allowed to slow motion black bag Julian Assange and rendition him to the United States. I don't know if I just got here on the stream like half an hour ago, but I don't know if we've been through this or not, but it's not an extradition hearing. Julian Assange isn't a U.S. citizen. He's not being extradited. He's being renditioned. He's being kidnapped. He's stolen. But yeah, I don't know if you knew that or not. And if you did, and I'm sounding like an idiot, you can tell me. And are there similar laws in Mexico? Is like something like that on the books at all? How are hacktivist organizations categorized?
No, we don't. In Mexico, they really don't know about hacks and hacktivism. They only think about trackers, and we have these crimes in our law, but they are not related with activism. We don't have the DDoS attacks. So in Mexico, we don't care about activism. Hacktivism, because we think about activism in all in general as criminals. This is something sad because here in Mexico, lots of activism are being killed and are in jail, especially the ones that are defending the earth and the territory. There are indigenous people. So here in Mexico, we have other problems, and we don't think about technology now.
So Nat, I was wondering if you could talk for a little bit about what you think are the most important leaks, or like your favorite leaks that have come from WikiLeaks.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I was very into the Guantanamo files because before knowing who Julian was, I read about Guantanamo. And I was a little bit disappointed because there was not a lot of leaks about Mexico. I thought there were going to be more leaks, but I've been very interested in the leaks about the Afghanistan war and the Iraq war, because when I started reading and researching about that, about Chelsea Manning's leaks and all that, I couldn't believe that they got away with that. And till this day, I can't believe these people are not in jail and they are not prosecuted for war crimes. And I really can't believe that Bush and his whole administration and Obama, they haven't been prosecuted for war crimes. So that's what I think are the most important leaks. And I'm an activist for the closure of Guantanamo till this day. And I honestly, Mexico has a really bad record of torture, but I haven't read anything about like what's been done to these people in Guantanamo. There's no comparison. Like, I've read all the books of detainees that have written and all of Andy Worthington work, and I can't believe this is untouched. This situation has been, these people have not been accountable for their crimes. The people that tortured the detainees.
Yep, and this is approaching at this point almost 12 years since a president won campaigning on closing Guantanamo Bay and ending the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
And it was a complete lie.
Yep.
I mean, he never intended to close Guantanamo. I think I don't like Obama at all, because I think he promised this like really important thing, and he drowned everyone, and he never intended to close Guantanamo. And I don't know, of course, the situation in the U.S., like the Congress didn't allow him to do that, or sorry, another cat. But sorry, but he got away with war crimes, and it's terrible that he's not going to be held accountable ever, because people love him.
We had Ray McGovern and Bill Binney on Tuesday, and if you're watching now and you haven't watched that, please go and watch that. It was fantastic. But Binney said that he blames all of this on Gerald Ford because of Gerald Ford's failure to allow the indictment and prosecution of Richard Nixon to go through. He pardoned Nixon. Every president after that has immediately upon entering office forgiven his predecessor. And the last like 40 years of American empire has been particularly brutal. Like we started off as, an empire on kind of a bad foot anyway, but man, the last 4 decades have just been soaked in the blood of people who had committed no other crime for than waking up with our oil under their dirt. And it's been rough. And so it's this practice of pardoning the last guy, no matter what they did, that not only it sets the precedent that you can do whatever the hell you want to if you're the sitting president, except for say the quiet part out loud, which is why Donald Trump has been getting all the shit he has. Because you're going to get pardoned by the next guy.
Yeah. And I mean, Obama was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize, and he just like pretended these war crimes before him, they didn't happen. And
he got awarded the Peace Prize just for saying, I'm going to end the Iraq War. Not for signing any legislation whatsoever that had to do with ending the Iraq, but for saying it. And they gave him a Peace Prize, and he went, okay, I'm going to go bomb 5 brand new countries. Ooh, how's about that?
Yeah, he went and drowned 1,000 civilians and invaded 7, countries, and killed, and he's still like, I hate this picture of like Michelle hugging Bush, and I'm like Like,
oh,
he had this
oh God.
responsibility for ending these things. Sorry.
Well, you know what absolves people of war crimes, Nat? Butterscotch candy. Every single time. If a war criminal gives you butterscotch candy and you're married to a war criminal, then the war crimes magically evaporate through that piece of.
So he's going to be remembered as the guy that won the Nobel Peace Prize instead of the guy that drowned children and women and civilians in these countries.
Ran out of bombs. Dropped so many bombs that he ran out of bombs and had to order new bombs. That's your fucking Peace Prize winner.
I know.
He's one of the greatest creations of the U.S. propaganda state that there could basically be.
Man.
Like, just what people give him credit for versus
Trump.
what actually happened. Oh, I mean, Trump is, but
Peace Prize winner, a Nobel Peace Prize nominee 6 times, Julian Assange, who's a genuine hero, who has been nominated all those times and not once come through.
Yeah, and I know, and you know what? Sometimes I said, like, if Obama got the Peace Prize, and we know Chelsea and Manning and Snowden deserved it more, just don't give it to them because it's stained how these people gave it to Obama.
Yep, I agree.
Well, we can search for the Turing Prize.
The what prize?
The what?
The Turing Prize is for the programmers.
For Snowden.
Yes, of course.
Like, I don't know, man. I would feel weird about somebody that I admired getting a Nobel Peace Prize.
I know.
So to be honest with you, like, I don't want to be a part of any club that would let me in. I kind of feel the same way about the people I admire.
I know. Like a bad award.
Just really, I mean, fucking yeah, awful words. Awful words.
Maybe that was the very point, actually, Josh. You're right. Maybe that was actually the point of giving Obama it, is just to sort of put the nail in the coffin for future awards for anything peaceful. You know, it's easy. Just like Tulsi pulling and corralling all of us anti-war supporters into like fighting for her, and tipping your hat to Assange a bit, and that's great. But it all turned out to be bullshit, and we were all conned again. And it just is like, how many times are we all going to fall for that shit? And right now we see the QAnon people falling for it. You know, the where we go one, we go all lot, mega lot, all falling for it. The sort of anti-mainstream media psyop, the QAnon. And Susie's last comment to me a few days ago was that she felt that QAnon, the second that Julian steps his foot in America, if it happens, that they will be weaponized against Julian straight away. And all the people calling out for pardon will not think twice about changing their entire opinion to one of, let's give them the death penalty, because whatever they come up with, there'll be some narrative that they come up with will pull them around. It'll be bullshit. We'll know it is.
Have you heard Jimmy Dore's not unfair comparison to America as a nation of adult children of alcoholics? where as Americans we protect our abusive partner or spouse or parent or what, and we lash out at the people who try and say, hey, you really don't deserve to be treated like that. That's kind of our collective national identity, right?
Same here.
Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
It's what now?
Stockholm syndrome, isn't it?
Stockholm, yeah, a little bit, yeah. Were we fallen in love with our captor? Yeah. And our captor at this point is the predator class, which it's still like it fascinates me, and I don't know how much this has been discussed today, but it fascinates me that they got Ghislaine Maxwell now.
I know.
Now, like well over a year after it really would have generated any kind of legitimate impact. And they waited 2 weeks after Barr had fired the lead prosecutor on the case, and they found her. Jason Burmis drove out to the house. I don't know if you saw that or not. But yeah, Burmis squeezed into a car with the Jackman brothers and drove the fuck out there. And like they're like, oh, it's on a dirt road, and oh, there's a lot of woods. And I'm like looking around on my drive home, like going back to my dirt road in the woods now. Like I don't really, it's not insulting to me. That's where I live. It's not a dig. Sounds pretty cool. I probably would have told someone if I would have seen Ghislaine Maxwell, but it wouldn't have been the FBI. It would have been like the Slow News Day audience or just walked up to that motherfucker with a camera on. I don't know, dude. But yeah, the whole timing of it really kind of just, it's a head scratcher for me, and I was hoping to get some opinions from the esteemed people in the room with me right now.
Well, I think the answer is who killed Ghislaine Maxwell. I mean, we can all talk about it now because you know it's going to happen, right? I mean, how else can we go forward?
Well, they did her dad in when he got when his lips got a little loose and he had outlived his usefulness. Sure, they gave him a state funeral in Tel Aviv, but I don't think she gets the state funeral in Tel Aviv. I think that would be letting the cat out of the bag a little bit too much.
Yeah, and I wonder if she's going to squeal or if she's too high up to hurt. You know, it's just it's a wonder what they're thinking, how they're going to push this through. Whether it's just a delay tactic to get you to November. You know, we did do one thing that was right. We arrested Ghislaine just to distract you until November. Keep it all hanging over. I get the feeling that there's a real distraction until November thing going on everywhere with all the narratives. Do you not? Like just holding on. Oh, it's just Biden. We'll just keep Biden in. We'll wheel out Biden. You won't notice until we'll swap him over later. I don't know. There feels like there's some.
I feel like they're trying to do like an artificial intelligence rollout across society. So they're shutting down certain sectors of it to be able to reopen them with different computer program implementation.
Right.
Does that mean we're actually going to get like AI Biden by the time November rolls around? And like suddenly he's just going to walk out on stage and say complete sentences and not grope 12-year-olds? Like, and we'll be like, what the fuck happened to Joe Biden?
So I'm pretty sure all the 2020 Democrats had the Neuralink implants, and it was like a big ass beta test. And what you saw is all of them malfunction when they were trying to get people to vote for Joe Biden. That's like where the script broke down. There's like no feasible way they can get any part of society to support him.
Do you think that they're going to give the algorithm writers in Facebook or wherever they are, Google, do you think that those algorithm writers will get a Turing prize, Stephanie? Did you say Turing prize for hacking?
Turing.
Yeah. Hopefully.
No, that's very interesting. I know that maybe we can take this as a joke, but really artificial intelligence and these things are things that we are going to take care about in the future. You need to watch this movie, or I don't know what is the Creepy Line. I don't know if you know it.
No, I haven't heard of it, but maybe you could link it.
Well, in this show, it's related with the power of Google and all the social media. And the thing that is that they are shutting some kind of information. They are cutting this information from us. So it's very interesting because they are building this new whole digital world. So why we are not worried about this new world? Because they had agenda and they had their own, I don't know, objectives and plans, and we don't know these plans because they have a lot of power. People is not worried about information, and information is power. So we have to talk about it.
Information is power. That's the secret.
Yes, of course.
Julian said something about I wouldn't be quoting him directly, but basically what we've been doing on Facebook and Twitter all this time, all our profiles, all our blogs, all these things that we've been doing is the ultimate gift to AI. It's the ultimate package to hand over when you do get a conscious AI. You know, if that does happen, which, you know, if you talk to people in this industry, they seem to think it's not that far off. And I don't know why they're not scared of it. But what have we given them? We've given them a complete handbook on human behavior, psychology, how to be gaslit, how to make them turn into Stockholm syndrome sufferers, how to turn them into zombie sheep. You know, like they've got how to weaponize the Me Too, how to weaponize the pink pussy hats, how to weaponize LGBT against practical things, you know, like so that these people are not fighting for Chelsea Manning, even though Chelsea Manning's going to be one of the biggest LGBT heroes that we've ever seen. You know, it all speaks to that. We're seeing all these people being weaponized against us, and we've given them the biggest gift that we could have given them. Everything that we ever wanted to know, you know, tell the world about ourselves. And even the people who didn't, by association, they will have all been profiled too with big data. There's no way anyone's escaped it unless you lived off the grid or in a cave. I don't know how you would have done it. So we're all in the AI's guidebook.
Is it matrix? You know, they are hiring information about information from us, and we don't know what this information is. Which is this information? They taken up some web page, and they are erasing posts and pages. So we don't know what's happening. So they are hiring a lot of things from us.
Yeah, I think that they can see where you look on the screen. They can track your eyes. They can see your expression. They can see what colors you're wearing so that they can advertise the same color clothes. If you spoke about something, we bring up an advert that, you know, they're talking about heat sensors. So you've got heat sensors in your phone. You could tell if you've got a temperature. You probably have got tilt meters, and you know, you've got your geo, you've got your mappings, you've got your surveillance, and you know where you are. You even know if you're still or if you're moving around and jogging. So you've got all this input data that is coming in and getting mass sucked up by this machine that is then making decisions about all of us. And that's why ABB Live really interests me when they talk about Facebook and how you can corrupt your profile. You can do worse than deleting. You can turn your profile into the craziest shit that would just confuse anyone. You know, like we all went in there and messed around with stuff. You know, maybe that would help somewhat and start confusing it.
It'd be fun.
It would be.
The leak that I'm waiting for, right, to come out is for someone to release all of the collected NSA information or what have you in a searchable database so you can see and search what they have on you and on your friends and things like that, to essentially to drive the point home to people that they shouldn't have to say, well, I have nothing to hide, so I don't take privacy seriously. I think getting that core focus back to people, that they're collecting so much information that it's not about if you're doing something right or wrong. It's about influencing you to make the decisions they want you to make. And they being insert whatever, whether it's a corporation or a power elite.
Look at the way that people that are in real or perceived positions of power react when you turn that, if you don't have anything to hide, you don't have anything to be worried about, back on them. Look at what their immediate reactions are. It's to flip the ever-loving bejesus out and then try and destroy whatever organization or individual it was that shone some light on them. So
Wasn't Mark Zuckerberg, he buy all the houses in his neighborhood because he was sick of people, you know, rubbernecking as they went past and looking at his house. So he just bought the whole neighborhood.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I think that's what happened, and everyone saw the hypocrisy, obviously, of that.
Well,
you know, he didn't like people filming him taking his dog for a walk.
Does he have the whole neighborhood behind like one gate? Like, can other neighborhood kids get in there on bicycles and just egg every single one of those empty fucking houses relentlessly for like months and months and months? Fucking go and like poorly bury some salmon or something, like in the garden or something.
You know what the anti-war protesters did during the Iraq War in Sydney? They organised a truckload of manure, and they went to the French embassy and they dumped the shit on the front door, and they couldn't even get out that front door because there was so much shit.
Yeah. No, I watched that happen. I watched it when they did it with the yellow vest. The French. I used to shoot Slow News Day at a recording studio down the road from me, and the guy that owns it, and I still would be, but he's immune compromised, and he kind of shut shit down over the COVID thing. But he has a bunch of friends in France, the South France, and he was like, man, they protest really elegantly. And he was talking about like there were farmers that were getting some sort of ridiculous tax thrown at them, and so all over France they had cordon protests where farmers would bring their cows out and just leave them in the roads, like, until they got what they wanted. Just all of these major and minor thoroughfares throughout the entire country of France, blocked by a fucking herd of cattle.
Yeah, well, we had one protest in France. No, two. Sorry, we had one in Paris and we had one in Saint-Nazaire. But I only found out about those two about half an hour before I went to my own protest, so I wasn't able to do much promoting it. Yeah, we had France. They certainly do protest with style, and I mean, while yellow vests might have been sullied in other countries, the yellow vest movement in France is incredibly strong, and I don't think it can be compromised. I think that whilst yellow vests in Germany might be fascist or a bit Nazi, it certainly isn't right wing in France. They haven't managed to do anything with that there.
And the big reason why in France they can't do anything with it is because it provides a uniting symbol. Every car owner, every person, more or less, within the country had to follow the law that if you owned a vehicle, you kept a yellow vest in it. And that's where that comes from, is because it's something that every French citizen had in common. And so that was what sparked it. And it's also what kind of inspires us to talk about the idea of decentralized activism, which is being the one person in your town to go out and do the protests, whether it's just you and some close friends. You can't be compromised if it's you making the decision start to finish. If you're the one that designs the posters, picks what poles to put them up on, it's solely your decision. If you choose to go and do a sit-in at a media institution, which I think one-person sit-ins are a great idea, just going to a local newspaper and using it as a way to just chit-chat with local journalists about what they think about Assange. It doesn't even have to be a showy big statement. It could just be a way to connect with them on a personal level. So that kind of activism, because the yellow vests, it was just a spark where multiple groups, just people doing their own thing, started up. And that's what it's just continued to be, because you can't compromise a movement that essentially has no leaders, just a message that they're trying to drive home.
Well, the whole idea about anonymous was you can't arrest an idea. And it's a fantastic example of that, because it's an incredibly decentralized structure where in some cases it is just one hacker in a town, but what you can do when all of you get together, and what you can do when all of your smaller protests happen in the context of a 26 hour long live stream and a dozen or more countries, all the way, allows people to know that it's not just them. They're not the only person out there that thinks this way or wanted to do something about it. So there's I don't know, a sense of a real family kind of thing about it, or at least comfortability. I don't know. It's pretty fucking cool though.
So while you've been talking, I've been trying to reach Steve McMaster, who's probably starting his protest right now in Toronto on the street outside the US Embassy, because he was working right up until now, so it was the only thing he could do. And I was trying to beg him to ring in, and I haven't been able to raise him. He did warn me that he had a really old phone. Didn't sound like he was super able to do it. So I'm not sure if Steve's going to join us anymore. I'm just reporting in that, so I thought I should let you know.
Okay.
I don't know if we've said this for a minute though, but if there's anybody that's currently watching right now that wants to jump in, get a hold of us, and we'll figure out how to get hold of you, and then we'll get you on here.
Yeah, if they message me on Candles for Assange, I can send a link if they want to join, and or on Facebook Alex Hills, and I will get the message and I can send the link.
I'm happy to give out Andrew's personal number while he's not here. I know, right?
What? Okay, good. Just making sure everything was normal.
That's fucking funny.
So does anyone there know Steve McMaster?
Name rings a bell.
Yeah, I
Not
mean, he's the
personally
major
though.
Assange supporter. He's the Toronto weekly protest guy. He's done a lot of Sundays over the years. I think he's working really, really full time, so it's very hard for him. But yeah, I was so hoping to get him on because he's got like a real comrade, especially when I was getting attacked for the first time by trolls. When you have your first moment of success, and I couldn't leave them alone. I just kept on responding and feeding the trolls, and I got myself into a bit of a hole. And I remember Steve didn't know me from anyone, but he had seen my work in New Zealand, and I just said, Steve, I need help. And he jumped on and he just took it over and dropped the facts. And it was wonderful. It was wonderful. I felt really supported. It was one of the first times I really felt like, oh, wow, these people are like family, all these supporters. They're not just, it just, yeah, it felt really beautiful. So I was really hoping to talk to him because we talked to the rest of the Canada team. Here's the results from the web. Oops. Sorry about that. So yeah, unless anyone's got any burning questions, I'll go and check out the chat on Slow News Day. And Fabiana, if you want to say anything before we sign off, unless someone comes back in, you're welcome to.
Okay. It's not the information wants this to be free. It's us. Yes, the information needs to be free, but us needs to be free. I think about the people around the world. The people around the world needs to be free. Because if you have freedom of information, we have freedom of people around the world.
Someone just asked a question on the live chat, says, can the ethical hacker tell us what his thoughts are on the current state of hacking?
Ethical.
Is that you? It must be you, Fabiano. Are you the ethical hacker?
I don't know, ethical hacker. Oh, for example, somebody makes a crime. Okay, somebody is doing a crime. Okay, but the media and the government and the police and everybody doesn't know and doesn't matter about it. But hackers, okay, hackers matter about it. Hackers want to show the world the truth. No, we can see the truth, No, and
Yes, you can get this idea from a really good hackers, Stallman, the movement of Free Software Foundation.
yes, and information. We in this era is we are in the era of the information. Okay, and uh, everybody likes TV, likes watching TV or something like that, but they don't tell in truth. Okay, and at the internet also, there are a lot of people lying at the internet. Okay, but if you can see other things, see if you can see uh, other things to show the world the truth is ethical hacking. It's not a crime. What do you think, Alex?
When it's in the public good, yeah, like Chelsea, when it's something that is not just for the sake of being released to be famous or to be,
it's
you
to
know,
help the
it's
world.
actually when it's got a public use, which all of this stuff about war crimes, corruption, all of it has a public use, and then
Yeah.
it should all be transparent anyway. But then I suppose that you could argue national security in some examples might have to be, you know, but what they're saying is national security these days is basically dissent, like I was saying before. The act of dissent is just a national security risk. That's what it's come down to everywhere in New Zealand, everywhere. I mean, here we complain because we don't have a vote in America because it does feel like we're run by America as a corporation rather than being New Zealand with our own government here. And I'm pretty sure Australia feels like that. Some people there do. Everywhere in all the 42 eyes or 5 eyes or whatever you want to call them. I'm just going to go looking through the YouTube for any more questions for you guys, just while we've got everyone here. Because right now we've got Rio, Fabiana Lima, we've got Stephanie Valerio from Mexico, and we've got Natalia Rivera A. Scott, who is like Candles for Sun number 2. I couldn't work without her.
Okay, that's everything is okay. Oh, I will play guitar and you play violin one day
One
together.
day, but we'll have to find a better application for it because this is not it. If you heard us singing "Happy Birthday" to Julian when we had a cake and we were blowing the candles out, you would not want to do music on here. It's not good. It's not good. It's so bad. It's timing. Right. Right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to scroll through the chat here on my.
Oh, yeah. We've got Rob in there. And I don't know if there's been any questions because there's an awful lot of chat in your show there, Steve. You've got the
Yeah, I
most.
know. They're just kind of having their own little conversation in there. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
Excellent,
I don't mind
excellent.
mushroom emojis. That's like right up my alley. It is.
Remember that time when Steve, when we were all on the live chat on that one show for Consortium News, I think we
Oh,
all
that was when Benny and McGovern were on Consortium News. Yeah.
the whole family was there.
Oh, Alex, you're
And
amazing,
Lauren
Alex.
Steiner. That was a weird moment seeing Lauren Steiner pop into that chat and then like ask a really silly question and have like 40 people answer her at once. Yeah, that was a little surreal. If you don't know who Lauren Steiner is, she has a show, the Robust Opposition, and she's very, 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 very interesting, but I think she tries to pass herself off as like a quasi political insider and has oh, so I felt like I was getting played off stage there for a minute. Like, all right, dude, your 3 minutes are up. Fuck off stage.
No, it's not that time yet, Steve.
You're done. Josh has the virtual hook now. Fuck. Goddamn. Oh man, even the chat's getting in on the dead air shit. I know there's a delay. That's fucking funny. We've got people from like all over the planet that know what a Kevin is now too. I feel like that, you know, A4A accomplished nothing else. It's that we gave a new universal nickname to NSA agents tasked to monitoring the chat and GCHQ ones and what? Oh, God damn it! What's the acronym for Australia for their?
Bruce, is it? Bruce? I don't know. Bruce is a very Australian name. I don't know.
I think we came. I think it was. No, I think it was. Trevor was GCHQ. It might have been like Nigel or some shit. I can't remember.
I think we should just use Kevin universally, so it's just a term. Like you can go into any country and be like Kevin, and like everyone knows what you're talking about.
He did. Alex from Red Star Radio is 100% credited for Trevor, which is befitting. You know, fucking Trevor. It works. Euphoniously, it rolls off nice.
I was saying before that when Greg came over, Greg is the person who pretty much did the TPP in New Zealand, the major TPP protests and advocacy. And he's also my co-founder for Free Assange New Zealand, because we came up with the petition idea together. 47th birthday, the original candidate. Yeah. Oh God, what was I saying with that? I'm too tired to like remember where I was going. So that's it. So Greg came over yesterday before the protest, and we sat together. And for the first time, our phones were in the same Wi-Fi for a long time since COVID, and both of our phones just broke down instantly. I'm on my Wi-Fi, I'm normal, and he's plugged into my Wi-Fi as well, and neither of us can find anything. You go to Twitter, it just went grey. You go to YouTube, it's just white. You know, and everything we were trying to play, I don't know about you, but I've totally stopped working. And it was as though the two spies spying on both of us and cyclically spying on the two of us together. It was almost like we created a feedback loop, and it was almost stopping us from doing anything. But I mean, maybe I'm making it up in my mind, and it was just a slow broadband day. But you know, I might be tinfoil hat, but certainly seemed like it to me. Yeah.
Oh, the amount of coincidences that happen while you're doing this type of activism is it's beyond count. But that's part of their strategy, is because you can blame any fart in the wind and be like, oh man, was that them? So ultimately it's something that you just got to be like, they're fucking jokes. Like they've been using the same playbook since literally the beginning of human history. It's just divide and conquer. So all it literally takes is you to just recognize and just step past their bullshit. Like you just move to the other side of it and say, like, what are the foundational issues that I care about? Ending slavery, being able to ensure the propagation of factual information, and making sure that people can live a life without violence. Like it's those basic things that once you move past all of that propaganda, you can find so easily and clearly.
But my team, I love my team, and my team loves me back, even though they never do anything for me. They love me back too, and that's why I give my time and energy and resources to that particular team. It's so fucking, it's just so frustrating. When you ask a party loyalist, like, what has that party done for you? It's almost all ephemeral, emotional shit. Like, they can't point to anything tangible. And this is why I've said a few times before that, like, because at least here in the States, we're secular-ish. You know, like 70% of the country still identifies as a Christian, and there's a number of different large religious groups that are around here. But in the political space, most of these people are secular, and all of the energy that goes into being a fundamentalist religious zealot has gone into their political ideology. And when you attack, or I'm sorry, when you talk to someone and they perceive it as an attack, it's the same thing as like showing somebody a book that contradicts their book, you know, whatever that book may be. Like if someone's invested in the, I don't know, the ceremony and the just the what's the word I'm looking for here? When somebody's that invested in religion or politics, there's no real getting through to them. You know, it's because you've attacked their identity, the core. You've attacked the core of their being, or where they put their energy into thinking is the core of their being. And I always wonder out loud how you can like talk around that.
I'm sure there's a way to talk around that. I think we were just saying how easy it is to frame the message for anyone. And I mean, I think you probably could talk to some of the more religious, like for instance, there's a group on Facebook called Pray for Assange. Now I know that Christine was over it a bit, and she was over candles because they kind of sounded a little bit like praying and, you know, like a bit wishy-washy. We didn't want this wishy-washy kind of back. We wanted people to get on the ground and be active and speak up, not, you know. But I think that there are groups in there that are trying to do things like praying at the same time, meditating at the same time, giving the vibes, doing this. There are groups, and maybe on there you will find the narrative to bring those people around, because I think you have to talk in their language, and I don't have a problem with people with any religion as long as they don't shove it down my throat. I'm happy to be spiritual, as you know, we're all one. I don't care. But yeah, I think that might be an answer, because Pray for Assange is a group on Facebook with about 8,000, I think, members, the bigger ones. So I think it picked up, you know, that religious base. It's got people who can just see how religiously wrong our government is. You know, if you're a spiritual person, surely you can see all the wrongs. You can no longer support the government, so you have to fight it, you know, if you're a good Christian. And I think, you know, there are ways to frame the narrative for anyone. Yeah. Spin it is what I'm saying.
Whose dogs are barking?
Not mine. So I don't think we're going to get Steve as much as I would love to. I don't know if we're going to get him, and I'm running out of puff myself. How is everybody else feeling? We've kind of got through quite a long program.
Yeah, I think at this point it's almost the 24-hour mark, if not longer. Yeah.
Alex, you're a warrior, Alex. You've been off like for 3 days or something. So you should go to sleep, and
it's no
a warrior. Alex, you are a warrior.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I just list
Thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, thank
Oh.
you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Alex, please go to sleep 3 days and.
It really isn't about World Press Freedom Day. That was really crazy because I had a bit of a drama the night before, which kept me up all night.
The World Press Freedom Day. That was, yeah.
So the night before the World Press Freedom Day, which was a 14-hour ridiculous stream, which I wasn't supposed to the whole of it, but I was trying to be there as the handover person and also do my own segments here and there. And if it wasn't for Andrew being hyper calm, on the other end of a phone. I knew nothing technically. I knew no way. I couldn't use Zoom. I had my husband's computer, which had 5 screens, and it was all going all over the place. I couldn't technically manage it. And yeah, by the time I was that tired when I started, and then I had to keep on going, and I didn't get any. Whereas this one, Josh and I decided to cut the stream after we finished the Australian and New Zealand lot. And we literally, both of us, went to our, respective falling asleep zone 3 hours exactly, and then messaged each other, and then we're straight on again. So it was very efficient.
Admirable.
I feel okay. I have moments where I lose my words, but other than that, I'm all right.
Both of you guys, I am impressed by your feats of strength getting through all this. So I just want to say a big thank you to Josh and Alex for being able to pull all of this off a second time.
Josh is
and
amazing. Yeah.
So my hope is, as this goes forward, we'll be able to do more of these with less stress on each individual, being able to, because I can help out with some parts of it and such. So I think it'll be really cool to see how this kind of format evolves over the next couple of weeks.
Well, I mean, what would be really great would be a way of sharing videos and music where we can interact with it, because I am missing that, because we have to sit here when things are being played and we don't really know how to talk to them because we haven't. Yeah, because Jason Vermans as well, he seems to have his cut feed going really well, and he seems to work on his own. Maybe we can. Yeah. Right. Maybe you need to have a waiting room call. And then another one, which is your live one, and then you show can you meet the 2 calls together and show. Yeah.
Oh, I just hope next year we'll be able to celebrate with Julian free.
Yes.
So I want to thank you all for let me put Mexico in the map for this celebration, and let's keep going with this amazing thing. Thank you, Alex, for uniting us all, and I thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. Just listen to Proteus. You know what we do.
And go to sleep. Go to sleep already.
Excellent.
And thank you, Stephanie, as well, for coming and talking to us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. If you'd like to follow us, you can find us on Twitter at action_4 Assange. You can also follow us on Facebook. We also have a Rockfin. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for listening. Again, thank you to Josh and Alex, and to all of the guests that have joined in throughout this, to the I think over a dozen, if not more, countries. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's about 15 countries we had participated, but some of those would have been solo protests. Yeah. And I really want to say a big thank you to Alison, who organised the birthday vigil at Belmarsh. She did cooking and the sign and balloons and God knows what else. But also to David Simpson Media, who stayed on a live call and got that amazing governor snippet, which we've got to get out and get on a separate video, I think. If it wasn't for Dave, I hope he still had a good protest, because he was on the back of a camera the whole time. Well, almost the whole time. Yeah.
That's one of the most important roles in a protest, though.
Yeah. Always get something to film. Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Well, shit. Thanks everyone. It's been a very, 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 very long day for me, even though I wasn't on camera for 1,100 hours. My name's Steve Poikinen. You can find me on Twitter at Slow Newsday Show. I have a show on YouTube and Rockfin and DLive called Slow Newsday. Sunday, Ryan Christian from The Last American Vagabond will be on with me. That will be a fantastic show. Yeah,
Tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, so 13 and a half hours from now, roughly, we will be going live again with David McBride, who is an Australian whistleblower who, in a nutshell, is basically the key person to determining whether or not Australia gets a free press and what happens there. So we look forward to having him join us tomorrow, and we'd love to have you join us as well.
Yeah, David McBride is the whistleblower, the ABC office that got shut down last year, and the journalists that just got arrested there that directly relate to the material that he leaked after trying very hard to go through official channels.
Yeah,
So.
well, we had him on the second video, I think, on Action for Assange. We had him do a session there, and it was really great interview. Really recommend it. And he's very passionate about Julian now, and I think he wants to go to London once he gets his passport back and actually start actively campaigning down there. So let's hope all of that happens. But yes, check out the second video of the live stream if you want to see David McBride talking. Yeah, so and I have a YouTube channel which is fairly small, but it's got a lot of Candles for Assange and Free Assange New Zealand stuff on it, and that's Alex Hills. I'm a violinist, architect, and activist in New Zealand, Wellington. Yeah, I have Candles for Assange #4 on Twitter. And I have a big Facebook group with Natalia, who's here. We have Candles for Assange. It's got about 2,500 people, and that's only been a year old, so that's gone really well. But what's better about it is it's a really active group. It's insanely active, and people are posting quality stuff. There's a lot of posts, but it's the main part of it is photos and actions from around the world, and there's an awful lot of weekly protests. Candles for Assange was listing 50 cities doing weekly, monthly, or fortnightly protests just before COVID. And so it was a bit of a heart wrench to find that we all had to sort of peel back our on the ground protests at that point. But yeah. So signing out from Candles for Assange, New Zealand.
Okay, I'm very tired. Thank you very much. I woke up at 6 o'clock, and right now is almost midnight in Brazil. Oh, thanks a lot, Alex Hills. Alex Warriors.
Josh.
Alex Warriors. Josh, thanks a lot. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone here. It's an excellent live stream. Okay, and I hope we make other one, others and others and others, and let's to say let's to talk to the world. The information needs to be free, and the people needs to be free. And free Julian Assange is the freedom of Julian Assange is the freedom of the people, and the people of the freedom of information. Okay, thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot again, Alex Hills, Wario. See you tomorrow. Bye bye. I'll go. Okay, I just arrived right now at home. Okay.
Yeah. Let's
Kiss.
see you, everybody. Happy birthday, Julian.
Happy birthday, Julian. See you. Bye bye.